Three, two, one. Hey guys, what's going on? And welcome to episode 246 of the KBMOD podcast. It is August 14th, 2016. And we've got pretty much the normal crew minus Brad. Brad's on a bit of a sabbatical.
Needed a break. He's been working hard.
He's been doing a lot for... Yes, exactly. Grinding for a job, doing a lot of stuff with KBMOD as far as like content and some other things. So Brad's taking a bit of a break. So we'll miss him, but I'm sure he has a nice night planned, maybe a nice soak in his hot tub and a glass of wine and, maybe some rust on his Acer laptop. Who knows? Don't know what exactly he's going to be doing.
It could actually be a pretty good time. Like I mean, you'd have to be real careful not to get any water on your laptop. But I could definitely see if you could get like maybe a laptop on a floaty or something, and just chill in the hot tub and play.
Yeah, that could work.
Play a nice single player game, or I mean maybe some Rust if your Wi-Fi reaches out to a hot tub. Oh, that would actually be the ultimate.
I think I'd have to use a controller though. I would just I wouldn't be at ease like at the tub. Like
That's
this
true.
Yeah, it would be hard to.
That's true. Actually, I bet someone makes a waterproof controller. That has
Razer,
to exist,
get
right?
on it.
I would think so. I mean, in today's day and age, I feel like there's a product for everything. I'm actually going to... Okay, well, while we discuss, I'm going to Google waterproof controller, just real quick, see what hits I get.
On Amazon.
But how are you guys doing today? Katie, you're looking crisp today. I don't know what your internet's... I mean, again, obviously, we're listening to the audio version. You're not enjoying how crisp Katie looks. But he's getting...
He got a new webcam, too. And you were gone.
Oh,
yeah.
You were gone. Well, no. So you were here halfway through last week, but
I missed the beginning portion.
You were in such a frenzy that you didn't notice the crisp new webcam he got.
Holy shit! It is very crisp. Yeah. Oh my god.
And he's also just like coming of age, and so he's just naturally better looking each week.
Yeah, he really is. Like he's turning into a very attractive man. You know what it is? I think it's the I really like the stubble, and I like also the blue shirt choice with you wearing the blue headphones. I don't know. It's just the glasses are good. The chin strap you've got going on is good. Katie's very fuckable right now. I'm just gonna be straight out to say it for the audio listeners. If you're not
strapping young man, you are missing out if you're listening to the audio version.
So yeah, this is a plug to listen or watch live. But yeah, what'd you guys get up to? What'd you get up to this week, Brandon or Katie? Anything exciting? But we'll talk about the games. But
I mean, I haven't done a whole lot this week. I've still been playing Pokemon Go, and so that's been actually kind of fun because I went out twice this week in San Francisco, and I think I can see why so many people are playing it because in San Francisco, like just downtown area, there's not really anything to speak of. There's a lot of Pokestops, obviously, because it's a big city and there's a lot of points of interest, but down near the water, so like near the Embarcadero area, the pier, that's a big tourist area. Right. And I hadn't been down there before playing Pokemon. I'd obviously been there before in my life. But so we went down there. I went down there with John on Friday, and we just walked around, and it's ridiculous. There's constant Pokemon spawning down there. Every single stop is lured pretty much. We were having to slow down to catch everything. Like that's how much stuff is down.
That's the dream, man. I wish I had. Yeah.
So like the game was actually a ton of fun because you're just walking around and catching stuff and so like it's not. I feel like the game is not really that fun when you're having to try and scramble and catch Pidgeys and low level stuff that you don't care about. But when you're down there and there's so much stuff around you,
right?
And like literally. I would say I'm going to try and give a reasonable estimate because I could just say everyone, but I'm not going to exaggerate. I would say 20 to 25% of the people down there are playing. So think about every single person who's down there. It's a lot. I'm gonna say 20 to 25% literally were playing Pokemon. So it's
I believe it.
Yeah. And so
some people say the game is dead, but what you're saying, Brandon, is it is far from dead. Is what I'm hearing from you.
It is very far from dead. Like
I'm
still,
totally kidding that the game is dead, but people actually say that because of people have not liked a lot of these updates and stuff like that.
No,
so.
and I'm right there with them. I think the game the game, we've talked about this before, but the game still has a long way to go to be a good game. It's super buggy still. It's not super compelling. The thing that is compelling is the fact that I'm walking down there and everyone is playing. And it's like you feel like you're part of this communal experience. And the fact that I'm going down there and I was playing with John and my wife and John's wife, and like they were just as interested in it as we were somehow, that's fun. It's fun to play things with other people. It doesn't necessarily matter how good the game is. This just happens to be the thing that normal people are getting attached to, and I think that's pretty cool. So that was fun. We did that a couple times. Actually did that earlier today, just walking around with Hillary, and saw some stuff down in that area that I hadn't seen before. So I think it's cool that it's making me want to walk around in a way that I do not normally care to just walk around the area I live or downtown, because I've seen a lot of it before. But it gives you a reason to want to just walk around and hang out with your friends. So that's kind of what I did this week.
Okay, that's good. Katie, what about you? You out there on the you grinding on the streets of Indiana with the Pokemon
Not me,
Go?
but
No?
to add on, like last week when we talked about
What level is your mom now?
She probably something sky high. She's starting to, like, when we go and get groceries or when like things like that, she found a strip of like 6 Pokestops, and so she'll go out of her way driving and like, David, take my phone, and I want you to get all those Pokestops for me. We're gonna be a bit late today.
That's fantastic. Tell me this game is not great when your mom hands you her phone and says, you need to grab these Pokestops for me while we drive to the store.
Oh, it's great. She's obsessed. That's hilarious.
Excellent. That's excellent. Well,
I missed that at the beginning of the show. I didn't know your mom was playing. That's really cool. So
I think she's higher level than him, right?
Wow.
Oh, by far. I'm only level 5. I think she might be like level 16.
Wow.
She's not really,
I would say,
going on any
for like
gyms
for
or
a
anything.
mom,
Because she
for a mom, I think level 16 is fairly hardcore.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Oh yeah.
She would definitely be placed in
not
the hardcore mom category, Brandon. If we were
okay, all right.
But yes. I know.
Yeah, I just the main reason I haven't been playing it like that much is because like I don't want to do it by myself. I just don't think it's like as fun that way. Like if I had other people, because I know the canal, like close to where I live, gets really crazy, like with a lot of people at night. But like I just would never really go there by myself. Like I feel like it's just something.
Go down there with mom.
Yeah. That's a good idea. We have to. Well, we've done that a couple times. We walked around the neighborhood.
But I mean, you're level 5 though. Like you got to catch up.
No, I don't know. I don't want to take over any gyms. I don't want. I want is a Vaporeon.
Trust me, you won't be taking any gyms over at level 5. You're fine.
I was gonna say you're letting mom down if you come across a gym and she wants to attack together. You're gonna be nowhere. You got nothing to attack with.
She thinks so lowly of me. On the disappointment in the family because I'm not taking over gyms.
He's gonna have to level for you.
Mom, sign into my account and appreciate it.
You're gonna need your mom to level up your account, dude. You're gonna have get on my phone, mom, and please. Go.
You're gonna be asking for tips and tricks from her. Before you know it, she's gonna be the one scouring the subreddits, and she's gonna be telling you like the mechanics of the game. She's gonna be like, no, hold on. David, do not evolve that. Wait until you can evolve everything, right? You're gonna pop a lucky egg, and we're gonna evolve everything at once. And don't you dare evolve anything before that.
That honestly did happen because I had a lot of Pidgeys, being at my level, and so I thought it'd be cool to cash in all my candies, and I got a Pidgeotto, and I was like, Mom, your Pokemon are pretty cool, but I got a Pidgeotto, and she starts telling me you can get them wild. Like, you don't have to evolve a Pidgey. You can get a Pidgeotto wild. And that just broke me. Like, I thought I had done
She wasn't impressed.
Really,
She's like, yeah, okay, you're nice, dude. You evolved it.
No.
Just caught them in the wild, dude.
I'm surprised she even acknowledged that with her response. That you were excited at the Pidgeotto, and she straight up just didn't tell. Like, the fact that she didn't tell you to just leave the room is impressive.
Yeah, she's got like a hypno. I think I might be like her strongest.
Yeah.
But
all right.
yeah, it's
So
just
here's
so
a-
cool.
So here's
And
a question.
what really?
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, real quick, because I'm just
but
looking.
just really
I caught a Magmar recently, and I hadn't seen. Is that pretty common? I mean, it depends on your area. That's how uncommon is that? I mean, I don't know.
It's not super common, but
Not super common, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Okay, not too rare. Okay, sorry. Just for my own research purposes, I was pretty proud. I was pretty happy because I hadn't. That was the first one I'd seen, and I'm like level 14, which is not very high either. But I'm just playing casually. So anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Katie. Sorry.
Oh, what just really kills me is when I say, Mom, if you really like Pokemon Go so much, I can show you how to get a Game Boy Advance emulator on your phone. You can play Fire Elite. And she's like, no, I'm okay.
Oh,
yeah. See, that's the thing is like your mom is never going to engage on a deeper level than just Pokemon Go. But that's okay. I think that can still be a lot of fun.
Oh, I can see you're getting really hype over, when they inevitably, add in all the generations to Pokemon.
I actually think that will probably make it worse for me because I don't have an attachment to any generation except the first. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be more of a learning curve for me after the first generation because that's the only one that I was really heavily into Pokemon during. Everything after that was past my time.
So you think you just won't be that excited for more content for the game because there's no really nostalgia for it?
I mean, I think I would be more excited for content that still revolves around the original set. But yeah, just expanding the set of Pokemon to the future generations isn't super exciting for me because I just don't care about them that much. But I think that's probably a long way off. Because the game still needs so much to actually be a real experience that is going to hold people's attention. That I think that they need to solidify the core game before they even think about adding future generations.
I agree. They need to add trading so someone can give me a Vaporeon. That's all I want. It's just a Vaporeon, and I'll be happy.
Yeah,
I can retire.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff they need to do because there's a. The gym battling and stuff could be really cool. I think the idea is super cool. I think the current implementation leaves a lot to be desired. And so I would love to see them make that a little bit deeper and more meaningful. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Hillary's still enjoying it too, so that makes it better because I don't feel like I'm leaving her out if I want to go walk around and grab a gym or something. She's normally keen to do that too, so it's rare that you can get your significant other playing a game with you.
So if you've just tuned in or you're listening to us live on the AM airways, this is the Pokemon Go podcast, episode 246. Excuse me. No, I know we've been talking about this a bunch.
KBMOD
KBMOD Pokecast.
Oh
yes.
God.
But okay. All right. Anything besides Pokemon Go from any of us? I mean, I'll go real quick. Today I went and saw Sausage Party this afternoon. The animated Seth Rogen.
We should clarify. You saw a movie that is
called
Sausage Party.
Well, yes. Well, it was a twofold exercise. I saw a Sausage Party, and then I also went to the film.
The Sausage Party was earlier in the week, and then you went and saw the film Sausage Party.
Yeah, I went and saw the film because it definitely piqued my interest and had pretty good reviews, and it was such a conflicting amount of emotions because it is extremely raunchy as you would expect with anything from Seth Rogen, but it has the animation was fantastic, the character design was great, and it had that kind of CG animated Pixar kind of like they had a musical number in it, and the characters are very similar to like in Pixar films, but obviously. Yeah, it's very dark though too, and it was really good. I don't know, like there's multiple parts in the movie that I was just so fucking uncomfortable, and I think that's the entire point of a lot of it because it's this you have this like it's like animated, so in your mind you're like, oh, it's gonna be kind of happy and stuff like that, and that is, I mean, there are moments like that, and there's a lot of like funny parts to be had, but it's fucking brutal. It's fucking just. Like really tough to watch in some parts, but I definitely enjoyed it. It was a good time and a good amount of laughs and a lot of like trying. it gets a little preachy in parts, which I don't want to ruin anything because you kind of have to see.
Party.
Yes,
preachy.
I don't know how to. Yes,
What?
Not. They try. It's kind of because it's like it's mocking the current political and cultural climate that we live in as humanity. So. And it has its kind of own agenda in certain parts, but it's really good overall. I actually really enjoyed it. So, but it's as far as like, I don't want to ruin the ending of the movie because the ending of the movie is amazing, I guess, depending on who you are. But don't like, I'm thinking about the parents that brought their kids into this, like, because there's some parents who are paying zero attention. And they see an animated film, and they're just like, all right, and the kids want to see it, and they're just like, whatever, let's go.
Oh my god!
And if that happens, I can't tell you, it's not a good look. I mean, it is one of the raunchiest things I've ever fucking seen. And I mean, listen, I stream on Twitch every day, so I don't say that lightly, but it was a good time. Yeah. It's yeah. So anyway, it was a good time. So I don't know if either of you were planning to see it or if that was on your radar, but
I don't really see movies in theaters that often. I normally just kind of wait until it hits Netflix or one of the other services. I did. I don't know if you guys have watched Stranger Things, but I finished the Netflix series.
I have not started Stranger Things yet, but been told a lot of good things.
Yeah,
Enjoyed it.
Season? It didn't catch me originally. Like, I watched the first episode and I wasn't completely sold, but then I forced myself to watch more of it because I kept seeing everyone talk about it, and I was like, all right, I've got to be missing something here, right? If everyone else seems to be universally loving it, I gave it another shot. So I watched episode 2 and 3, and then that kind of made me get more into it, or like made me wonder more about what was going on, and then before I knew it, I was done because it's only, I think, 8 episodes. But yeah, it was good. Interesting. Okay. I feel like it's one of those series that I might, if I rewatched it, I'd probably notice things that I didn't notice the first time through. But yeah, it was really good.
Cool. Yeah, I'm almost done with Mr. Robot. I think I have 1 episode left. So I've season 1. Sorry, not the new season.
Okay, I was gonna say, yeah. I've been watching Mr. Robot, but that's an old school type television show that comes out once a week.
Yes, I know, right?
I've got to actually remember to watch it weekly.
Exactly.
But yeah, Mr. Robot, this season is way different than the last season.
That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing mixed things so far. Like, people are like, it's not terrible, it's just different.
It's not. Yeah, slower. It's not. It's kind of hard to talk about it without spoiling it. But
okay.
But the second no, I mean, not necessarily for you. I don't know. It's the second season. You're coming at it from a pretty different angle because of things you know from season 1, and so season 1, I think, was just so good, and so much happened, and then the things that you learn in season 1 kind of carry forward to season 2 and play a big part. Season 2, it's just I don't know. Wait, is it? Are we even on? We might be on season 3 now. I don't even know. The current season, I think, is pretty good, but
I think it's season 2.
Yeah, the current season is good, but it's not. I don't think it's quite as strong as the first season. But that was such a hard thing to live up to because the first season I was just enamored with.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, I'm excited to. I'm gonna wait. Obviously, like, I'll be caught up. This season will not finish airing by the time I'm done with season 1, but I'm just gonna wait so that I can just binge it.
Yeah.
So I'll just have the patience.
It's a show that I think would do really well to binge, and that's why it kind of sucks having to wait weekly for it, because you sort of lose the context a little quicker. So.
Yeah, gotcha. I really need to get back into Super Robot. What the fuck, Mr. Robot?
Super Robot? Yeah.
What? I don't know what. Yeah, I don't remember how many episodes I've seen. I think maybe like 5 or 6, but I need to go through and like watch again to see like where I am and start getting caught up.
It's so cool because this is, I think a lot of people know this by now if you've watched it, but I think they stay very true to possible things in real life when it comes to hacking and kind of the things that are going on. They keep it plausible instead of just like like CSI and those types of shows where they'll walk up to the stereotypical hacker guy and be like, "Hey, can you hack into this mainframe?" And he'll be like, "Yeah, let me just grab the codes and we're in there. Let me just knock out some code real quick." Mr. Robot, I think is very true to actual possibilities.
Yeah, that's one of the.
And so, like, reading what's on what they're typing into the computer and stuff is actually real Linux commands and things like that. And I think that makes the show way more interesting to someone like me, who I feel like I always hate when I see technology portrayed in most shows, because it's portrayed as like, let's just talk to the geek and he's going to make magic happen. Whereas Mr. Robot sort of all revolves around hacking, and like, if you're actually a professional at it, here's all the things you could do that, like, maybe you could, take down,
things like hacking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
like
even
just accomplishing.
Like the social engineering stuff he does in that game, in that game. Yeah, everything's a game to me in that show. But yeah, like
it's kind of like a game. It's like watching a game you're not playing.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay. All right. Well, what have we been playing this week as far as video games go? Katie, you are lagging a little bit, so, but I think you're okay. I think you're okay for right now. So you go. Take the lead. What have you been playing this week?
Oh, I'll take it. Yeah, I think I have a bit of a delay.
I'll pass you the baton.
Okay. Popcorn.
The torch, if you will, even though I watched none of the Olympics. I didn't watch the ceremony.
Oh, that's topical. It's topical.
Very topical.
But I've really just been trying to finish a lot of games.
Can you tell the people we weren't even in the pre-show yet. We were just on Skype showing each other our penises, which we always do before the call or before we start. But Katie has a method. I don't know if you shared this last week or anything, but
I mean, I think I've talked about it.
Okay, but just explain it again for people, because I thought this was really interesting. How you?
I had to turn my. I would love to show it on cam, but I think I turned it off because it's like,
that's fine,
because I'm robotic playing. But I've fallen victim to things like Humble Bundle or the Steam sales, where I've just been buying so many games, more than I can even play. And what that's done is kind of made like playing single player games like really a chore. Like I have to sit down and put like commitment into it, where I could just like be on my phone for like however amount of time, and it won't seem like I've been on there for that much, but that is what makes you, stay on Facebook or Twitter for 3 hours at a time. And so what I've done is I wanted to like convince myself that, okay, I need to finish all the games I have now before I buy anything more. So to kind of show myself how much I have to do, I have a stack of index cards that I have written the titles of the names on the cards, and I've like stacked them in order of like what I want to play right now, or like what I think I'll play. So like right now I have Persona 3, Transistor, like Hyper Light Drifter on the top there. And then I have like a separate box I put them in where I finish them. It sounds really dumb, but it's just I want to see the progress, or like how many more games I have left to finish.
I'm just impressed. Yeah, I mean the visual aid helps, but even just listening, I mean he had 2 different colored cases with he had his nice index cards written out with his games, and it's cool. I mean, it's a good way. I think
that physical reminder helps keep you accountable, because you're looking at them and saying, what did I tell myself I was going to play, and then you just pull out the box and you're like, okay, let me continue one of these games, right? Because I want to put it in the other box. I think that's a smart system. I should do something like that, because we were talking about how it can be tough to get through a lot of single-player games, and I own a lot of games I've never played, because games, when you get them on Humble Bundle or you get them on a Steam sale or something, you just end up picking up games that are really cheap, and then I never actually find the time to play them. So I need to have a list of games that I want to get through, and writing them down like that could help me, when I'm just sitting here on a Saturday or a Sunday. Saying, what should I play? And feeling like I have nothing to play, and then looking at, KD pulls out his box of index cards, and what do? I just sit here and I'm on Twitter and, might go to Reddit or play Hearthstone or something.
Yeah, and I think like another thing is that I'll do like, I don't know, really cheat days or anything, but be like, okay, today I'm gonna play. I'm just gonna play. Days. No, that was a pretty.
No, but I know
way to
where you're
phrase it.
going. All
Like,
right.
okay, today I'm gonna just do Rocket League, or I'm gonna do Enter the Gungeon runs, or
This is how you
Overwatch,
stay-
or stuff like that.
This is how you stay on your gaming diet, dude. Like
The
this is
gaming
what you're
diet.
describing.
Yes.
No, it is because you put like you have pre-made meals, right? You've made your meals. You have everything like good to go, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna binge today. I'm just gonna play a game that's not, I'm gonna go off diet, and like you said, just do some stuff for enjoyment. Yeah, it's a system. I mean, it works. I respect it. I like it.
Got to give yourself a cheat day. That's the only way you'll stick to it.
Yeah, exactly. You can't be that all the time. You got to have some fun once in a while.
And I have to get my rank up there, so
sure.
Kind of,
Sure.
Yeah, but then another thing too, someone brought up in chat is like some of those games can be really short. Like one of those a while ago was Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, and then right after that I have all the Final Fantasies to go through, or like all the Disgaea games. I don't know if anyone listening knows. Those are like really long tactical RPGs to go through. So it's kind of not really balanced that way, but it's still like good to have because I don't necessarily go through them in order. Like maybe like 3 different at a time. It's really weird. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Let's move on. But what I actually played this week, I've been grinding through Persona 3 some more. Oh, am I roboting? All right.
No, you're good.
You're fine.
Okay, good. Oh, okay. So yeah, Persona 3, still going through that. And then I finished The Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess a couple days ago. I've had like the ending. Well, parts of the ending spoiled, but I haven't really like played through it all, like myself. And I can just picture that ending was it was very, very exciting and like very just cool. And I could picture Zelda fans everywhere just coming all at once when they played the ending to this game, because it was just so like if you played Ocarina of Time, it was just really cool. It was very easy, which was like, I have like some complaints. It's not a perfect game. It's probably not my favorite Zelda, but I'm glad because there are a lot of really cool moments that I didn't know about beforehand, like the sumo wrestling. I had no idea about that. That was a really cool moment. But other than that, let me think. I finally finished Fire Emblem Fate's Birthright, which is something I talked about back in February, which is a game I got day one that it came out, that it took me this long. And the thing is, I finished this game, but then it's basically 3 different games that came out at the same time, where you have like this one choice at the beginning of the game where you want to side with like a different faction. And so that faction leads you into its own like 25 hour game. So I finished one of those 3 games basically. And those were completely different games. So I need to get started on. I'm probably gonna like wait until I get started on like I think Conquest is the second one I have to do. But that game, it really felt like okay, this is gonna be kind of out there. But when I think about the story, and like it was a good story, but the writing felt like I was playing a Super Mario 64 machinima. Like an old school story, like let's get all of these powerful people together to take on this powerful guy. And I mean, I don't think anybody will get that, but I found it hilarious that so many things were like, okay, you have to go find the sage. You can take this book that is a magic book that's good for this one round trip for all 30 of your troops on the other side of the continent. And it just felt like, okay, all right, I'll buy that maybe. But I picked the wrong waifu in that game, which I was.
What happens when you do that?
Oh, I wish there was an option to break up with someone. Because like,
listen, we don't need more opportunities for divorce in this world. Okay, I'm glad they don't let you. Were you married? Are you married in the game, or are you just?
Oh yeah, okay. You can marry people in the game, and your children actually become like troops. In the game, and like depending on like who marries.
Child army, Coney. Oh.
Yeah, it's kind of, I guess. Well, you can name your character whatever you want to, so you could be Coney,
Perfect.
But yeah, that game is really cool, and I can't wait to play the other 2. But other than that, let me think. I'm pretty sure that was it. But yeah, that's 3 index cards down.
Yeah, I was about to say 3 index cards down, and so what are clickers? Are clickers considered cheating on your diet?
Oh my god, I check the clickers are like
clicker.
Oh god.
Okay, just curious.
That's like you have
that's
failed
like
diet
junk
if you start
food. Yeah, that's just on your couch. Okay, fair enough. All right, cool. That's about it for you. I'm not cutting you off. I'm sorry. You're lagging, Katie, and then every time you talk and I talk, it sounds like I'm trying to cut you off. I'm not.
Oh no.
Okay, but that was it. You didn't have anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that was it. My bad.
Brandon.
Yeah, my list is pretty short. The only thing I've really played this week is the new Hearthstone expansion. Well, Pokemon Go, but we talked about that already. I played the new Hearthstone expansion, so the first week is out. It's like their other expansions that are adventures where they normally release it kind of week by week. And so the first wing was this week. And I think, if I feel like at this point you probably know if you enjoy Hearthstone expansions like that, because it's kind of similar to Naxxramas and some of the other ones they've put out. But I think this one's really good. At least the first wing is pretty cool. It's Karazhan, so if you're familiar with the Karazhan raid from World of Warcraft, it's the characters from that. But it's one night in Karazhan, so it's like funky disco stuff, which is, I guess it's fine. Some of the bosses this week, one of them in particular I thought was really cool. It's a chess game. And so it's not used. You're not using like a regular deck. It gives you a deck, and the deck is sort of similar to chess pieces. So there's a pawn, there's a rook, there's a queen, and so the mechanic there is that those cards will just attack whatever enemy is in front of them, and if they're in front or if they're in the middle of two enemies, it will attack them both. And there's a normal version, which was pretty easy but was fun. And then the heroic version gives you like half the cards of the normal version, I think. So you have to beat the boss with about half the number of cards that are normally in the deck. Mm. And so the heroic version is pretty hard. I've only given it a couple of tries, but I think it's a very cool challenge. And it's pretty different from anything they've done before. So I'm enjoying this week's wing a lot. And I'll keep playing those as they open up each week. But that's pretty much it for me.
Okay.
I did get a lot of Pokemon, but I assume people don't need to hear about my huge Pokemon collection.
Yes, no, we don't, Brandon. We get it. Okay, we get it. You're a very talented player who happens to have enough. What were you telling us again? This was off. You have 400. Magic carp, right?
I finished. So, yeah, when we went down on Friday, there's obviously when you're near the water, a bunch of water Pokemon spawn, mm-hmm. and so there's a lot of Magikarps down there, and mm-hmm. so I caught a bunch on Friday, and then we were in the city again today, and I caught a few more, and I hit 400 Magikarp candy. So after this cast, I'm gonna find a nice tasty Magikarp, and he's gonna turn into a Gyarados. So
okay,
awesome.
Yeah, so basically, we need to get this cast over.
Are you gonna get naked, oil your body, turn the sound on your phone so you can hear? I like to hear when I evolve my Pokemon. I like to hear the little sound effects and the jingle when it happens.
Look, my Pokemon evolving ritual is frankly none of your business.
All right, I don't want to pry. It's a personal thing. Fair enough.
It's a personal thing.
Totally get it. All right. As far as what I've been playing this week, I played a lot of old and questionable in quality shooters this week. So obviously CSGO, that qualifies, and that's every week. But I also played, so this game, Ghost, okay, the full title of this free-to-play shooter is Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex First Assault Online. That's the full title of the game. And based on the Ghost in the Shell anime series and movies and stuff like that. And it was one that a bunch of people in my chat were like, hey, this game came out, it's on Steam. I know like people, I think there had been an alpha and a beta, but it was like on Steam and released now at this point. And I didn't really have too many expectations going into it. And it actually, I played it for I think I played like 3 or 4 days. I didn't play it like my entire stream, but I played it for a good amount of time. I think I have, if I look at my hours, I don't have it up right now, but I probably played about 6 to 8 hours of this game. And as free-to-play shooters go, Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex First Assault Online is It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's not a shooter that you're probably going to have as your like main game or anything like that. But I can't really remember a free to play shooter that I've played in a long time that just kind of out of the gate is really fun to play. Guns kill very quickly. You know, it's headshots kill instantly. The different game modes it has are interesting. It has like a game mode that's like Search and Destroy or Counter-Strike that you can play. I don't know what tick rate it is. I'm guessing like 10, probably 10 or 20, maybe. And so we were doing a situation where I wanted to play with a lot of people in my chat, so we were trying to do private servers. And I don't think it's peer-to-peer. I'm pretty sure it's not, but like the private server stuff was way laggier when playing with other people that way than it was to just join a random server and just play public matches. But the problem is they limit the party to 3 people, which is kind of bizarre. So there's a couple, but it's like there's, you know, it's your typical thing. Like you can pay and buy credits to unlock guns quicker. And it's a grind to unlock certain weapons, and the higher you go, the less, you know, rewards you get. 9.1 hours.
It's published by Nexon.
So yes, and it's a Nexon game. I guess I should have said that off the bat. So, but overall, like really polished as far as like visually, it's pretty like decent looking. And like the actual mechanics, like the shooter mechanics that you want to have in like a fast shooter, are really solid. I like some of their like choices as far as like how they display like ammo and stuff in the game. I don't know. It's definitely a game, like it's free, and I never was tempted to spend any money personally on it, and I've gotten almost 10 hours of enjoyment out of it. So that was a nice little change of pace. So definitely, if you're just looking for like something a little bit different, I definitely recommend Ghost in the Shell standalone complex. I can play it longer than I think other people. Like, I played it one day and then I was playing it again the other day. People are like, you're still playing this? I'm like, I don't know. It's fun, and the shotguns in the game are really fun.
How dare you play things that are fun, Scott?
I know. No, I
God.
know. But a lot of people were hating on it before trying it, and then once they jumped in, you can have a good amount of fun with the game. It's pretty fun. So check that out. I never played any Black Ops 3, so I redeemed a code that I've had forever and tried to jump into that game after never having touched it. And I haven't played a Call of Duty since they started doing the jumpy boost packy thing. Like I didn't play. So I just came in, I'm just like, what the fuck is this? Like the amount of customization options, like everything. It was just like overwhelming. Oh, yeah. Like I didn't realize Call of Duty it's totally changed, and it really took me aback, because I also the previous week I played some Modern Warfare 2 back on the Xbox 360 during a 50K celebration stream, and that game, I mean, talk about a piece of shit as far as visually. But again, it wasn't, and we talk about Modern Warfare 2 being batshit crazy. Just because of like all of the, it was, you have the nuke and you have all the kill streaks and you could die from anything. But after going into Black Ops 3, after being away from kind of that formula for so long, it was just, I felt like a total fish out of water. I was just like, what is all of this? So what we ended up doing, Sham was playing with me and a bunch of people from my chat. We ended up just doing Nuketown private games. And,
no.
And because Nuketown is always great. And we just did like snipers only, or knife only, or tomahawk only. So we actually did get a good amount of time and fun out of it. But so yeah, I'm trying to think. There was a couple. Well, there's another free to play game which I'll report on next week. That is, I can't wait to talk about it. It's called is it Blackshot, or I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, I'm super excited because Sham and I are going to really dig into that, and I've gone through the tutorial already, and oh god, it's fucking terrible. So. The thing is, like, playing, I think I'm just going to try to mix up, because I can only do Counter-Strike for so long. Like, I mean, I enjoy it, but it's like, let's see what other shooters are out there and on the market, and don't make me want to kill myself. So it was a good little mix-up.
You don't want to burn
week.
yourself
and I
out.
played, exactly, and I played Modern Warfare 3 on PC as well, which was a really
Good
nice.
Lord.
Which was a really nice, and that was a great contrast, because Modern Warfare 3 on PC, as you remember, the port was fucking terrible. The FOV is locked unless you use an FOV unlocker executable. The whole thing is god awful as far as the PC port went. So I played that, and it was fun. Played a bit of that, but then I went to Black Ops 3, which obviously at this point, and I know when it launched, it had pretty decent PC options. It was like from famine to feast. Whereas like Modern Warfare 3, I'm like, can I at least change my FOV or something? And I can't without an executable. And then I go into Black Ops 3. And holy shit, dude, they've got everything. Like like they have so many different options. It's a really solid like game on PC overall. So that was kind of cool to see the difference between the ways that Call of Duty are serviced, between the two companies that make the games. So
as much as we can hate on Call of Duty, like present day Call of Duty, I think Modern Warfare 3 is probably the darkest time in Call of Duty PC history.
Right.
Or Ghosts.
Oh, Ghost. Yes, Ghost.
But I think Modern Warfare 3 was the turning point for a lot of people where people said,
I totally agree.
am not playing this series anymore.
Yeah, I'm done.
And I only know that because that was me. Literally, like, that was the last Call of Duty game that I bought.
Yeah. Nope, totally agree. That's kind of where I stopped. Like, with Modern Warfare 3, I played it, I had, like, a decent amount of hours. I mean, decent, not for me. Like, I think I had, like, 60 hours total on that game on PC, so that's really not that many. But you're right. And so I got out in the game at Modern Warfare 3, and then, like, when it advanced, like, all these Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 3... Have you played anything since? So have you played any of the series at all since? See, Brandon, I think if you went into Black Ops 3, you'd just be like, "What the fuck is this?" People are just sliding everywhere, jumping on walls and shit. I'm just like, God damn it! Can I just get killed by an AC-130, dude? Can I just use the turret on Wasteland? Like, God damn it! They were simpler times. But anyway, I'm just like, I literally felt like people were watching me play. I just looked fucking lost, and I never thought I would feel lost in a Call of Duty game, because Call of Duty was always just like spawn in, get a kill or two, and die. You know what I mean? It's just the fast gameplay, and I don't know. I'm sure I could get used to it if I played it, but I also realized I have none of that desire.
You were like embodying the difficulty with making a new Call of Duty, because they want, like, everyone wants it to change, but then also they don't want to alienate someone like you who knows how he thinks Call of Duty should feel.
Sure.
And goes into the new one and feels out of place.
Yeah, I really felt like a fish out of water. But and it just confirmed to me too. I was just like, I have absolutely zero desire to play any of the games in this franchise anymore, other than for the nostalgia factor, which is fun. Like, it's cool once in a while, but like the new one, like, I just couldn't care less. But anyway, whatever. It's fine. It was definitely interesting though. So. All right.
I mean, you have Ghost in the Shell now, so you don't really need.
Exactly. I don't need Call of Duty. I have Ghost in the Shell. It's gonna be great. All right. So I think that's it as far as what we've been playing and some of what we've been doing. So I think we should now take this opportunity to issue a trigger warning for this first news article, because I know that there's people on all sides, I'm sure, of this No Man's Sky release. I'm just gonna say release because obviously it released on console and then later on PC. Earlier this week, and I think it's safe to say, Brandon and Katie, that reception has been mixed, right? I think that's fair.
I think mixed is
a good word, I think.
Yeah. And so obviously, No Man's Sky. I think anybody listening to this podcast, I would be shocked if you don't know what it is. We've talked about it a bunch. I safe to say, probably one of the most anticipated games of all time. Whether or not that's merited, but it just basically has been, and a lot of people were really looking forward to this game, and it came out on console, and I think had a pretty decent launch in comparison, I guess, to the PC launch, which we're going to get into in a little bit. As far as like technically, like it like ran fine on, I think, the PS4 for most people. There weren't as many technical problems as the PC release, but there was some issues.
I think we could say for a studio that's as small as they are, I think they could have been excused for having a worse launch.
Sure.
But things that seemed like mostly worked with their launch. They didn't have any server crashing and no one could log in. Nothing catastrophic from what I could
That's
tell.
what I'm saying, at least on the technical side. Now, the stuff on the not so I mean, I'm sure it is on the technical side, but the whole idea and question of multiplayer in No Man's Sky, that has been kind of the big issue.
Yeah, it's a super weird thing, because I feel like it was sort of teased that like the multiplayer there is multiplayer kind of, but that it would be really rare that you would see someone else, and so it wasn't being touted as a multiplayer game, but because of kind of the way it had been marketed is like, it could be multiplayer if you happen to find someone in the billions of planets and then that just seemed like that's kind of where it was left off until.
I'm sorry, it's quintillions of planets.
oh, yes, my apologies. Off by orders of magnitude.
Please also don't misquote and put words in Sean Murray's mouth, okay, you idiot. If you
think he lied?
The other thing I want to say is, and again, we're going to get into this because I think this is going to be, we're going to probably talk about this at length, but the whole thing I'm seeing with this is just like anything that gets into the cycle on the internet, is that there's people on I think there's people that are in 3 different camps when it comes to No Man's Sky, and there's the fanboys and the people that no matter what anybody says or any evidence to the contrary that this is maybe not like the greatest game of all time, love it and will defend it to its death. There's people in the middle that can kind of see both sides and enjoy the experience but wish it was more or feel like they were somewhat misled in some ways, so you have the middle ground. And then there's people on the far other extreme side that are like, this is the worst fucking piece of $60 garbage ever, which also I don't think is true. So you're dealing with those, 3 different opinions all fighting and butt fucking each other. And it's really interesting to go into I love reading comments on articles and seeing kind of the different variation on that, because the people that are also super in love with the game, if you say anything negative or well, I mean, he definitely made it sound like, because of his vague language and being well, if you ever found somebody in the billions of, different systems that we could have in the star systems that we could have in the game, then sure, it could be multiplayer. They're well, no, you're taking his fucking words out of context. Okay. There was no reason to ever think this was a multiplayer game. Right. And I've seen responses like that. And then on the other side, it's this guy's just in it for the quick buck. He doesn't care about his game. He's just saying fuck it to everybody and taking the money and running. And it's just so funny to see the wide gambit of opinions.
From what I can tell, if anything, it looks like it looks like they're very deeply invested in what the game is, and they care about it a lot. But I think that maybe the hype was almost too much for them to try and control, because I think having to try and get out in front of this sentiment once the game comes out that it's not intended to be a multiplayer experience feels like that should have been something they made clear earlier, instead of just letting that speculation kind of linger. And I think that's what some people are upset about, is that this game, I feel like a lot of the hype was built on the fact that there are all of these possibilities, right? Because so much of it is procedurally generated, and it's you don't get an answer of no, that's not in the game. It's I mean, it could happen, right? Yeah. And so I think people went in with that expectation of having these potential experiences, almost kind of it made me think of the game Journey, which I have not played, but I know that you can come across someone in Journey, but that's not, the game is not built around it, but if and when it happens, it can be really impactful. And I think some people probably thought the same thing about No Man's Sky, of all right, I'm not going to go into it expecting to do, co-op, right? I can't group up with someone else, but if I happen to run into them, maybe now we have this shared experience together. And it sounds like that, from what they said afterward, was really not the intention at all. They're in a shared universe, but that's not even really a core part of the game.
Nope. And that's been made, as we're starting to fine tune since the release, and kind of seeing more quotes and kind of, absolutely. Even to the point of the, which the limited edition No Man's Sky box essentially came with a sticker that covered up the online play portion. It's kind of, you got to see this. This is a PC Gamer article, but basically, it looks like they're just kind of, what do you make of this, Brand? I don't know. Or Katie, what do you make of this? I mean, it's got a sticker over the online portion of the game on the back of the box. Literally, it's literally just a sticker to cover it up, and it looks different.
I really don't see how something as big as just online play in general could have been a last-minute change, because that sticker feels like a last-minute change, like the PEGI rating too.
Right.
I don't think that's something that they just switch, the day before. It's oh wait, okay, sorry, let's just put the sticker on there because we need to change the rating. That I can understand, but that's a big thing of gameplay taken out, and maybe some people can draw the conclusion that it was taken out or the game wasn't finished. But
right. I mean, I don't know about your own opinions. We can get, like, I want to talk a little about what your guys' thoughts on what is actually happening. And I think this is just a situation where, again, we're talking about this is a small team. They already delayed the game. How many times this game delayed? Twice, maybe more. I know there was a couple different points where they were like, we need to keep working on it to, before we release a product, before we release the product. But it just sounds like a mix of a really passionate, right, developer and game creator, and Sean Murray. Also, not really being filtered, being able to talk directly. We talked about this in the pre-show, Brandon, but having a Twitter that is personal, but also directly relates to a product of his.
Yeah, his Twitter. So I think his Twitter started out as his personal Twitter, and then just turned into the No Man's Sky semi-official Twitter, because it's still his Twitter. Right. It's Sean Murray, but the Twitter handle is @NoManSky, and so I feel like you have this weird sort of combination of official game tweets and then Sean Murray emotional tweets, which, I mean, it's not. I guess it's not that big a deal. It's just such a weird. It feels like such a weird thing. I feel like a lot of the way that they feel about the game is coming across in like I don't think I would be as confused with some of this stuff if there was some separation there where like they had more kind of official messaging.
Yeah.
And then like some, if I go and read someone's personal Twitter, I know that I'm seeing just their personal opinions about the game. Whereas like the official Twitter having all of these like kind of conflicting messages is kind of a weird thing. And the fact that I think the one tweet that confused or sparked some controversy is he tweeted, to be super clear, No Man's Sky is not a multiplayer game. Please don't go in looking for that experience. And I feel like that was not something I would have expected to hear after the game comes out, especially when a lot of the messaging was sort of like, yeah, I mean, you could run into people. And I think that air of mysteriousness sort of helped even build the hype more. But I think that's what's causing some of that letdown factor is that sort of mysterious piece of the game has not panned out at all, to the point where they're now saying, like, do not go in looking for that experience, right? Don't spend $60 if that was the thing you were hoping for, because the game we built is not that game.
Yeah, and again, I don't think it's necessarily a situation where there's any kind of intentional. I mean, there could be. Obviously, that continues to build the hype, and it's exactly what you're saying. Like, everybody wants to go into this game, and sure, so Sean Murray can be like, yeah, the odds like of any players running into each other are virtually like 0%, but like everyone thinks that they can be that 0.0001% chance that they find another player. And of course, what happens when you have millions of people buy a game like this? It happens in the first fucking day where players ran across the planet that another player had named, and then they were like, oh wow, like why can't we see each other and all this kind of stuff. And there's still a lot of speculation going on as far as like how the multiplayer works, and it has been confirmed that like it's not an MMO. It's a situation where, like, once another player is within range of another player and the servers realize it, it creates an instance, right, like a lobby from that one player. And so people, but also people have dug into the code. So this is just some of the interesting stuff behind it. And they're saying that, like, people that have dug into the code and tried to see it are saying that there isn't anything that they can see that actually shows, like, any kind of network communication that is set up to go between players and setting up instances even right now. Yeah. But they're also speculating, like maybe it's in the game and the servers were crashing. It's very possible, so maybe it wasn't working. But I don't know.
There were I think on the first or one of the first days, like you were saying, two players ran into each other, but they couldn't see each other. And I think that's where some of the confusion came from. Is like, wait a minute, I thought, it's like we thought collectively that this wasn't necessarily intended to be like completely multiplayer. But the fact that it's really not at all, and by multiplayer they really just mean like, well, you're logging into a server, there's like shared server infrastructure, you might see something someone else has named, but it's almost like a leaderboard kind of thing, right? Like if someone's been on that planet before, it's named the same thing, and you'll see what they called it, but you're not going to actually see other people. You're not like, it is a single player game that happens to have things that have been named by other people.
Right. Exactly.
And I think that would have been easy to clarify early on, but I think they didn't do themselves. They didn't really do themselves a favor by leaving that really open to interpretation, and then people just kind of find out and are disappointed. Where I don't think they'd be disappointed if those expectations got set correctly early on, because especially for a small team, it looks like an impressive game.
Sure.
Like, there's a lot
even
going
with what
on
they've
there.
done. Yeah.
There's a lot going on in that game. So I think the only people they have to blame for that are themselves, because I think they've made, by most accounts, a pretty impressive product. But because those expectations were so high and they didn't really do anything to curb this one specific thing that I think a lot of people probably cared about a lot, they're suffering for it, and that's how you get some negative Steam reviews and people on Reddit complaining and all that.
Yeah, and it's a situation too, and then it almost swings the pendulum for me a little bit more on the side of not necessarily it being nefarious, but a situation where they know, like, obviously that little detail, right, of them leaving out, if they knew it, they're like, okay, well, there's this. I don't think they're dumb in the sense of I don't think there's any way that they thought. I mean, maybe they are. Maybe they're just naive. Maybe there's just a little development team and they are bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and they thought that once this game releases, like, people are going to realize that.
Are you holding back the conspiracy theory? Is that what you're trying to do?
No, but but obviously by not being as, like, if they had come out, I mean, I think this. You're saying that it wouldn't have really affected sales or expectations, but I think if they had come out and be like, listen, this is not a multiplayer game. This is a situation where if you run across a planet that a player has named, yes, you can see, like, that he named the planet and stuff. And there's like you said, leaderboards, or just, there's different inventories of what people have named, but you're not going to run in. We don't have it currently in its current state. You're not going to run into other players. To me, that would have absolutely impacted, especially at least people that pre-ordered it. I think a lot of people went in with this expectation. I'm not saying it was fair for people to go in with that expectation because they never called it an MMO or anything else. I mean, that was never the situation, but it did build a certain level of hype. And I mean, like you said, that was kind of the banking point for a lot of people, being like, well, man, maybe I can be the person that fucking runs into somebody and I'm going to become, whatever, like, internet famous for that or whatever else, or just have a really cool moment. And so I think that directly did relate to the sales of the game. I mean, sure, people can refund.
Yeah, you very well might be right. It's hard to say how. I think it probably helped their initial sales, but it's one of those things that maybe it hurts your longer tail of sales because it sort of sours some of the reception about the game. And maybe if they'd gotten in front of that, then maybe the reviews would be better because it'd be clearer what the game was. There is a quote which I think actually summarizes some of the situation pretty well. It's from Sean Murray. I'm not sure if this was on Twitter or not, but it was in the article. He says, No Man's Sky may not be the game you imagined from those trailers. If you hope for things like PvP multiplayer or city building, piloting freighters, or building civilizations, that isn't what No Man's Sky is. Over time, it might become some of those things through updates. Like, I think that is the problem. It's still there's still like this sense of possibility of, like, we could add some of these things instead of just saying, like, that is not the point of the game. They want to keep things so open-ended, and I think that's what caused some people to get upset about the fact that it didn't deliver on every one of these promises.
Sure. Yeah.
Not even promises, just like, just sort of things left unsaid, and a lot of kind of hand-wavy language of, like, it could be these things. It could, like, there might be. Who knows?
Right. I mean, I could all of a sudden turn into somebody that looks like Brad Pitt, but there's 0.0000001% of that ever happening. I can go Sean Murray too. I mean, I'm being extreme, but yeah, at a certain point when you're the figurehead,
Scott, we're gonna be updating you over time, and who knows what direction it might take.
Absolutely. I mean, in the multiverse, I'm sure there's somebody that sounds like me and has my personality that looks like Brad Pitt. I'm sure there are, but
there are quintillions of possibilities out there. Who am I to say that there is not a Scott Fisher doppelganger that looks like Brad Pitt?
Exactly. My girlfriend, I'm sure, would love to look for that in the multiverse. But the truth is, Yeah, she probably is. The truth is, like, at a certain point, and this is kind of going back almost to, like you said, where the personal Twitter eventually becomes the game. And I've never made a game, and I can't claim to ever have invested any. Like, I know that game creation and the project you're passionate about, and these guys slave for years to make a product, and then it's released, and then to have people just tear it up. I can't even imagine. I know it's difficult, but there's a certain point at which, like, for your own mental health and sanity and stuff, and again, I'm sure him and his team are working on this now, but we're like, that separation, like you're saying, Brandon, it would be so helpful to do, to be like, all right, this is the No Man's Sky Twitter, we're going to tweet facts, right? And we're going to have official statements from here, and then whatever the Sean Murray Twitter can be like, that can be the farcical, and people will take his words, whatever, out of context, or be like, where he can talk about what he wants the game to be or hoped it would be, or maybe it could be. But that, when the two are merged, you can't get mad at people for being like, well, then what the fuck? Like, what are we hearing? Are we just hearing the thoughts of Sean Murray of what he wants No Man's Sky to be? Like, it's out. Like, we can't. It doesn't work like that.
It's hard to split out sort of the what is kind of personal feelings of a person, right? Clearly, a person who is heavily invested in the game, has probably lived the game for years now, and is experiencing a lot of emotions. But I think you have to separate that messaging a bit, so that the founder of your studio, people can choose to follow him and get kind of get his take on things. But then the people getting information about the game are getting kind of a little more concrete details. I think I don't know. No Man's Sky is such a weird thing.
It is. Yeah. I mean, and again, this is all we have to put this all in the context of this game being kind of, more hype than any, a lot of games that have ever come out in the history of, since gaming has, been a thing. So, I mean, it definitely had that whole hype thing behind it. So this was bound to happen. I mean, I even think if the product was, I think even if the product did have maybe some of the multiplayer aspects, or even like, let's say those players meet and there is a cool thing where it's like, oh, wow, like we were able to see each other, or we saw each other's ship, or whatever else. Mm-hmm. I think even with that, you're still going to have people that, expected or wanted more, because that's just a reality. But I think, like you said, in time with updates and stuff, we can see. But it seems like this is definitely a game that has, it's, if you like inventory management and you like exploration and you can handle. I mean, I've watched a lot of people stream this and a good amount of hours of gameplay of it, and it's it's definitely like a beautiful game in a lot of ways, and it's a game that it definitely has like a relaxing feel. A lot of people even that play it definitely describe it as like like they relax when they play it, because it's not super combat heavy and whatever else. I totally understand kind of like the market that it's for, and it's cool to see, like, once people have been playing this game for who knows, like 1,000 hours. I'm hoping, because he said that they put Easter eggs in the game and a lot of other stuff, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of exploration and stuff done. Like, I think it has a lot of merit, but at the end of the day, it's just definitely, I think we can all agree it's not the game that I think a lot of people thought they were going to get, and he said, and that's fine. But
it probably never was going to be that.
Yeah,
it's a game. Yeah. It's a game that I don't think it could have possibly lived up to all the expectations that were set up for it. And nothing ever does when it gets that hyped. So I think it looks like it's really just kind of an exploration game, and it happens to be on shared infrastructure. Sure. So you might run into a planet called, Harambe.
Yeah, I'm sure you would.
I mean, I'm sure at this point there are many thousands of planets called Harambe.
Yeah, I want to know, probably millions at this point. But yeah. How many things are named Harambe? But
or forget.
Okay, well, there you go. So anyway, sorry, Katie, I know we were dominating the discussion, but did you have anything to add? Have you played the game yet, Katie? Or
no, I haven't.
Is
played
that on a note card?
I mean.
Yeah, no,
not yet. No, I haven't added that. I mean, before the game came out, I was just thinking, all this is going to do is disappoint. There's no way it can meet expectations. So it's kind of that way, but I don't really see like a whole air of like lying about it. But my interest for the game has really kind of dipped, and I'll probably pick it up on sale to go visit Trump's 2016 planet. And,
yes.
That'll be my enjoyment.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, I know we talked a bunch about No Man's Sky, but we had to. It's a big release, but let's jump into something else that will probably trigger a lot of people. So just so you know, guys, in case, I don't know if anybody, this is a PSA, But if you've ordered the $130 Battlefield 1 Collector's Edition, please know it doesn't come with a copy of the game. Okay, so if that's ringing bells and red flags are going up, try to get a refund. But yeah, so this is Amazon's exclusive collector's edition for Battlefield 1. It's $130. Doesn't even include a copy of the game. Though the listing is pretty specific. It does say does not include game in the title, but still it's $130. And
I can't be too mad about this because you're actually right. It literally says in the title, not like in the details. In the title, it just says does not include game. I wonder if maybe they added that after this, after these news articles about it. That is pretty ridiculous, though.
That's fucked up to have this steelbook case for the game so you can go buy the $60 game and put it in that box.
Especially
now there is
shouldn't you just call it something else instead of calling it the collector's edition of the game? Just call it something that doesn't imply that it is the game. Call it Battlefield 1 like pack, or I don't know, figurine pack or something.
Right. The playing card pack. The messenger pigeon tube.
You know what? Maybe don't even have it under the video game department. Put it under like the merchandise department or something.
Yeah, exactly. It comes with, just so you know, so everything you're getting for $130, a 14-inch statue, not the game, exclusive steelbook, not the game, cloth poster, again, not the game, deck of playing cards, different game, but not the game, messenger pigeon tube,
games, not the game, Battlefield 1.
Game. Messenger pigeon tube containing exclusive DLC for the game, but not the game.
Okay, that's pretty funny.
A patch, which I'm assuming is like something that you can put on your clothes, and not like an actual game patch, but not the game. Premium packaging. For the game. It comes with premium packaging, not the game. Like,
I actually think it almost feels intentional that they did this. They included a messenger pigeon tube with exclusive DLC content for the game, and didn't actually put the game in it. It actually feels like they're trolling.
It does. No, it absolutely does. And someone in the comments of the IGN article that reported on this, there's a lot of sites reported on it, but basically said that like this is a situation where somebody's going to buy this, right? They're going to see $130 collector's edition. And again, maybe, I mean, it may say it in the listing, but there are people that are going to 100% buy this, going to be excited to play this day one, right? Get their nice fucking exclusive steelbook, open it up, and realize that the game doesn't fucking come with it.
Amazon, they're gonna get same day delivery right on the release date of the game. They're gonna crack it open, hoping to install it off a CD, and it's not gonna be in there.
It's crazy, man. And so if you actually want to buy a collector's edition that has the game, that'll run you $189.99 if you want the game included. And then there's a $209.99 deluxe edition, which appears to make the sole edition of the early enlister version of the game, which I guess is a collector's edition version. So that's $20 more than the base game. So you'd be paying $80 for that bad boy if you want that version to say that you've had it. But I mean, again, like God bless.
I realize that now Battlefield is it's a thing where we're gonna have all the pre-order and the DLC and everything else. It's the same as Call of Duty, right? The same strategies. Yeah. But this feels a little much, doesn't it? Do we need like 3-4 different editions of this game?
Yes. EA's answer is yes.
No, it absolutely. It's the whole thing. That's a horrible taste in the mouth. But it's not. I mean, again, it's at this point, it's EA, and like I don't think anybody's shocked. I don't think anybody's, it's just like par for the course. But this is the world that we live in, where this. I mean, again, we can laugh about it, but there was a time if this had happened, I don't know what, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, maybe even more, where we'd be like, wow, that's disgusting. And now listen to our language. We just laugh at it. We're like, that's video games, folks. You know what I mean? That's PC gaming.
I mean, the only reason it keeps happening is because people keep buying it.
Yeah, no, it works. Absolutely.
Yeah, dude. If you're not a true gamer, you're not getting a collector edition.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're not set.
I mean, can you really call yourself a Battlefield player if you don't have a Battlefield 1 deck of cards? Let's be honest here.
If you don't have a pigeon messenger tubes,
if you don't have a messenger pigeon tube, what kind of World War I enthusiast are you?
Exactly. You're a fraud, dude. I bet your grandfather never even fought in World War II or won. Get the fuck out.
You fucking pussy.
Anyway, so just EA doing EA things, but I mean that doesn't. I don't know. People in the chat are saying that should definitely give you an idea of how good the game's going to be, but I don't think that necessarily has any. Bad marketing doesn't
Yeah,
mean
the marketing department and the people that actually make the game are two different things. I don't want to vilify the game itself. It's just I think we've talked about this before with other titles on this podcast, but it just sort of dampens my excitement because it makes me think that they're sort of taking their eye off the ball, like of the quality of the game. And I realize that obviously the people that come up with these ideas are not necessarily the same people, coding the game, deciding the mechanics and all of that. I fully understand that. But it sort of just looks that way. It's like, look, you're coming up with all these different strategies to try and like bamboozle me into buying this, these big collector's editions and all that. The thing I want is like just the game. Just like give me for $60, give me a high quality first person shooter. That's what I want.
Wait, you don't want the patch?
I mean,
you don't want the 14-inch man with a gun?
I've already pre-ordered for my messenger pigeon tube. Okay, so I'm talking purely in hypotheticals at this
point. I'm a World War I enthusiast, dude. My great grandfather, dude, was out there.
You think this is my first messenger pigeon tube?
Yeah, Brandon, you have a whole shelf dedicated to all the messenger pigeon tubes that you have.
Yeah,
all your pre-orders.
I mean, honestly, for this amount of content, $130 is a steal. I've paid much more for a pigeon tube in the past.
Oh man! Now, it could be worse. One thing I thought about this, like, how great would it be if this was machine specific? Like you had to pick the right console. Like the packaging was different for like PS4 or Xbox One. Thankfully,
that would be the darkest timeline. Is if in the PC version you got the messenger pigeon tube, but then in the PS4 version, you got the propaganda poster and something else. That really is the darkest. But I guess they're not going quite that far.
Well, I mean, let's think about it this way. If you're on PC, see, I like to play on PC, but I also like having the physical game, to display. So this way, I can get the steelbook and the statue on the shelf, but I can just download it on PC. But I can still show it off to various women and people that I want to impress.
You're always showing your games off to the women. Yes.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you know what? Honestly, maybe it does make sense for this to just be a standalone thing, because I think the people buying the collector's edition I would assume they're buying it for all the extra stuff, and it's probably actually pretty expensive to have to package 3 different versions of that collector's edition.
Sure.
Just to include a different code for the game or a different platform. So I mean, maybe this actually isn't that big a deal. I think the bigger deal is the fact that without the game, it still costs $130.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think again, I agree. There's a certain level of practicality to it, right? Where they're not going to sell it with the game to avoid, that stuff. But again, $130 worth of stuff. I mean, I guess if you're,
it's like weird that it even shows up under video games, though. Like I think that's the thing I have maybe a problem with is it shows up as a listing like a video game. It says rated mature. It says this title has been rated mature. It's not a title because there's no game in it.
Nope,
it's just confusing to have it categorized as a video game when it doesn't include a video game.
You have to be at least 17 or have your parents' permission to look at the messenger pigeon tubes.
They won't let you order this if you are under the age of 17.
God, the whole thing with special editions like this on the whole, it's just really fucked up, because I looked at a bunch of different ones, and the whole pricing scheme for all these is just, it's not really consistent. Like you have this that's $130 that doesn't even include the game, but then I already pre-ordered the Persona 5 Collector's Edition, which is $90, and it comes with the game, it comes with the soundtrack, the like steelbook, and it comes with like a replica bag from like the fictional school from the game, which that is a lot more appealing than this. And it comes with the game, and it's 90. And on the other hand, you have Final Fantasy 15 coming out, which its collector's edition is also 90, but all you're getting is the steelbook and the movie, and then some in-game skins, and that's the same price as It's just, I wish that it would be more like the pricing would be more honest for special editions as a whole, but it's just this is probably the worst. They should just
call this listing. They should call this listing Battlefield 1 statue, and it happens to come with some other stuff.
There you go.
Or the Battlefield 1 memorabilia. Set.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. Battlefield 1 memorabilia set. That's actually a great title, and you can put it under like the action figures section or something else. Yeah.
Yeah.
God. All right. Well, let's stop talking about it before we continue to trigger ourselves into the circle jerk of trigger. But anyway, well, we're already doing it. But so just something to keep an eye out for. Make sure that if you actually want Battlefield 1, stay clear of the collector's editions because none of them come with the game.
I'm still excited for Battlefield 1. That's a super weird thing. Yeah. Be careful if you want to buy the collector's edition, you gotta make sure you don't get the one that says does not include game in the title.
Exactly. Yeah. The $130 one. So, all right. We're gonna have a couple quick hits, but Brandon, the world's largest SSD has been revealed. And tell me about the size of this drive.
Holy
moly.
It's pretty large.
Yeah, sometimes we'll talk about stuff like this, which is not it's like not hitting mainstream anytime soon, but it's cool to see where technology is going and how quickly things are evolving. Seagate unveiled a 60 terabyte solid state drive.
It's fucking
Jesus.
Crazy.
Which
I need it in my PC.
Yeah, you're not going to have that one in your personal home rig anytime soon. But it is, it's like the storage density is getting so nuts at this point, and it's cool that I think we're at the point where solid state drives are cost efficient enough that you can put just one of those in your computer, like a terabyte solid state, and not even have to worry about a regular physical hard drive. But I think we are in the next couple years. You will probably see mechanical hard drives just not even in a lot of people's builds, because they're getting so dense. Seagate has this 60 terabyte. It's an enterprise drive, not unsurprisingly.
Yeah.
Because that's actually where the need for this sort of thing comes from. We definitely don't need 60 terabytes in a little personal rig. But I think the largest commercially available SSD right now is a Samsung that holds about 15 terabytes. So it's 4 times larger than the largest one you can get right now.
And tell them how much that drive is.
That Samsung drive is a measly $10,000.
$10,000. And this thing it's crazy, dude. Because I wanted to see the actual price on on the Seagate. They don't actually say it, but
the Seagate is not for sale yet. It's more of kind of a tech demo.
$10,000.
So SSD technology has been. SSDs have come a long way just in the past couple years. Prices have been coming down. The higher density drives have been basically replacing the smaller drives and keeping the same price point. So who knows? In the next 3 to 5 years, we could be seeing 10, 20, 60 terabyte solid state drives, available for consumers. That's pretty neat.
It's pretty cool. All right, so let's jump into some quick hits here. And this first quick hit is actually, so we've talked about Quake quite a bit, and last week we even talked about it, our reservations, our hopes. And this article is fantastic, and this is exciting because the people working on Quake Champions have made it very clear that this is not a title, at least as of right now. They have no plans to bring it to the console, to the PS4 or the Xbox One. And the reason is they're designing this, they know their audience, and they're designing Quake Champions to be able to be run at 120 hertz with an unlocked frame rate on PC. And So Brandon, we're talking about a little bit in the pre-show, but this is exciting. I'll read you a few of the quotes here. This is from I forget who's the name on this. I don't know, but anyway, this is one of the quotes. Quake champions. Maybe anybody else would have been like, "No, you have to do it. It's got to work on every platform." This is from Pete Hines. I'm sorry, he's the Bethesda's
Bethesda.
Yes. Yeah, Pete Hines. And he said, we were like, no, it's a PC only thing. It's this kind of game. It's got to have this kind of performance, and it's going to be on PC full stop. We feel very comfortable making those calls. So, he's just, he's just sucking on our peckers, right? Us PC gamers right now. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
he said, I guess
he knew this article was gonna definitely make the rounds on the PC Master Race subreddit. The PC Gamer, Max PC.
Exactly.
They're definitely saying all the right things. But I think, aside from just obviously wanting to cater to people that obviously look at Quake as a PC title first and foremost, and they want to try and keep that pure feeling, I think on the other side of it, there's actually a practical concern with a game as fast as Quake, because if you put it on consoles, we've seen this with Overwatch, where Overwatch, that team has to balance consoles differently than PC. Yeah. So I think I think you have to be ready for that kind of manpower to be able to sort of manage two really different versions of the game, and you have to look at feedback for those titles very differently. You have to balance them differently, and so I think it probably makes sense, right? Just because unless they have a big enough team to really care about the console side of things, then PC only just makes sense from a logistical standpoint.
Right.
And they want it to be a big competitive title, obviously. So I think when you look at Overwatch, for instance, I don't think I've seen any Overwatch console competitions, right? Console, no. It clearly makes sense why they released a console version, because people still buy it, and people, I'm sure, are playing and enjoying it. But from the competitive aspect, there is no Overwatch competitive on console that I can tell, and there probably never will be.
I do know Big Optic Hex personally, and I have heard that Optic's going to be switching from Call of Duty to really get on the Overwatch console game. So anyway, that could be coming. But you're right. Right now, it's only PC.
Maybe Optic can kickstart a console Overwatch competitive scene. But they're I look at Overwatch and I see that they're investing a lot of their time into the PC version, and if anything, that console version is probably just I'm sure it makes them a lot of money, right? But it probably takes a lot of their focus off of other things, because the console team has to worry about that specific console experience, and if they didn't have those consoles to worry about, it would probably be a lot less effort to just focus on the PC, which is clearly going to be the main platform for a competitive game like that.
Yep. So definitely good. So after hearing this, Brandon, are you feeling? Again, they're saying all the right things. Are you cautiously optimistic
right
still?
I want to be. I think the problem is I still have some reservations just about how a champions type system works in Quake, and I don't know that they've done anything yet to allay those fears. They showed us some gameplay. They talk about how it's going to be fast, and it looks like there's going to be strafe jumping and rocket jumping, and that's all great. That's all stuff I would expect to see from a Quake title. But the things that I'm worried about are not necessarily those things. It's a Quake game where potentially players have different abilities. They might have different movement speeds, different health amounts. I think that's the thing I'm scared of, because Quake has never dealt with those concepts, right? Quake has always been a level playing field. So this news here doesn't do anything to change my concern about that specifically, but they definitely know their marketing message. Between Pete Hines and Tim Willits, they are on point with the PC first, PC only marketing points. So props to their PR department for knowing who their target audience is here.
Absolutely. All right. So Killing Floor 2, it's finally going to be up for a full release in November. And obviously this is a game. I played a bunch of this way back in April, I guess, of 2015. It's been that long when the alpha was out. And I know that the game has changed quite a bit as it's remained in early access and will be up until November. But basically, they're syncing. November 18th is the release date when it's going to go into whatever the full version, and that's the same day it's going to release on the PlayStation 4. And yeah, so I mean that's just exciting to see Killing Floor 2. I remember I really enjoyed what I played. It just got a little stale because there wasn't much variety back then when I played. But I know they've been adding a bunch of stuff, and I'm sure it's going to be great. I mean, Killing Floor 1 and what I've seen of 2 have been fantastic so far. So
yeah, I think it's been. I've already gotten my $20 worth out of it just during its early access time.
Same, yeah.
So I tossed it in here because I think by the time this hits full release, it will be very much worth $20. Like it's such a good game, and this will be a great excuse when it does come out full release to get back into it because hopefully more people will buy it once it's got
for sure.
once it drops that early access tag and becomes a full-fledged game. Like I can't wait. Yeah. I actually really can't wait until they are able to start focusing more on kind of the seasonal stuff that Killing Floor does. Like this is my hope. Maybe they won't be able to do it because it's right after they release for real. But if they release this in November, to like turn right around and then have the Christmas themed skins and stuff in the in the nicer like awesome. high res graphics that Killing Floor 2 has compared to Killing Floor 1. Because like that's some of my favorite stuff in Killing Floor 2 is just seeing it on Steam and seeing that like all the zombies have Christmas themed like Santa costumes and stuff, and I'm just like, you know what, I definitely need to play that.
Definitely, yeah. So that's gonna be good. Katie? Did you play Killing Floor at all?
Oh yeah, I got pretty into Killing Floor 2 for a bit. I loved the first one. It's just
same.
Yeah, we need to do another community night for Killing Floor 2.
Killing Floor is such a good community game.
It's such a fun game to play with your friends.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember Brandon was teaching me how to manipulate the spawns, how to like where to stand and where to knife. Yeah. Good times.
Nice. Yeah, we did some farming, trying to level up. So may have to bring that back. For a little bit I had a private server going, just because Killing Floor is one of those games where you really have to have if you want to not have your experience ruined accidentally, you really have to have a private server so that you don't have randoms come in and ruin your game. So I just ran a private server for a little bit, whenever people would want to log on, because like your ping doesn't really matter as much because it's all AI anyway. So I may have to boot that back up when it goes full release.
All right. So we do have to talk a little bit about TI6, the recap. I only was able to catch a little bit of the international, but pretty crazy grand final from the stuff that I actually got to watch. I don't know how much you guys watched this weekend. But
watched a bit.
What did you think of production, the games?
I think the international is the one time of the year that I watch Dota. I'm not a huge Dota fan, just because I don't really play any. But the international is always fun to watch because the production is spectacular. It really, I think more than probably any other event, mimics a real sports event, in that it has great production value, but also a lot of the kind of little segments where the hosts will interview people on the floor. They do kind of the other things that cut in with the broadcast that make it fun and interesting that aren't just the games. So I'm not a huge Dota fan, and I don't necessarily understand everything that's going on in the games, but I enjoy the segments outside of the games where they're having fun and they're memeing, and there's there's a cosplay competition, and there was a lot of other cool stuff to enjoy about that broadcast that wasn't just purely the games of Dota being played.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's always enjoyable. And I'm like I played so I don't really have barely any time in Dota 2, but I did play, I've played League of Legends, which I understand is a much easier game, but I am able to watch like Dota, and even though I don't know like all the items and
someone listening to this
the heroes
screamed when you
they did, they got mad.
When you're trying to talk about Dota and you say I haven't really played much Dota, but I have played League.
I played a lot of League, and but I'm saying like as that has helped me because I never played any MOBA before League. You know what I mean? So having that background, like I think you're probably similar, Brandon, where it's like I don't know but I can appreciate like I can watch it and enjoy it, which is nice.
Yeah, I can conceptually appreciate some of what's going on, but I don't know the heroes well enough to like talk about whether I thought their picks and bans were good, or I don't really understand a lot of the meta in the game, but I do, that's why like I enjoy the international, because I think they scale back some of the commentary. And at least outside the games, you're just watching, a broadcast that is clearly people having fun. It's just cool to watch a broadcast where people are having fun in a gaming environment.
Yep.
Regardless of what game it is.
Exactly. So that was good. And sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. So the Wings Gaming, yes. I believe from China, won and took home $9 million.
$9 million. $9 million, dude.
So yeah, I mean, the craziest thing about the international is that whatever team wins, that like those players automatically are in like the top 10 or definitely top 20, probably like top 10 or top 5 in all-time esports winnings in history, just from winning one tournament.
Yeah, it's
which is
so
wild.
Fucking crazy. Now, can we get anyway? I know. Can we get this for Counter-Strike Global Offensive? Thank you, thank you. But anyway, yeah, no, really cool.
I think I think it sets the stage for a cool Counter-Strike type international too. You look at the things that the international does that are interesting. I think Counter-Strike, you could plug and play Counter-Strike and have that broadcast be just as interesting, if not more. Some of the cool things they did during the broadcast, which it sort of gets people to watch it, even if they're not huge fans of Dota, is they had this augmented reality, I don't even know how to really describe it, but they were like holographic type like visions on the broadcast. So when they were picking and all that stuff, they had these augmented reality heroes on the broadcast screen that I don't think they could see it in the actual building, but on the broadcast it was perfectly overlaid with the rest of the of the real world, and it was super, super cool, very impressive. And like on the caster desk, sometime I think they did this maybe twice or 3 times. All of a sudden they'd cut back to the caster desk and they were Muppets.
Yeah, they did a lot of like silly things.
Yeah, there was just some silly, fun stuff
and
there
some like
that
cool
I
stuff.
think that I think other events can learn from. That like you've got to do those sorts of things, because those will make someone like me, who's not hugely invested in the game, want to watch all weekend. Right? That's the thing that I want to have on, because there's a lot of stuff I can enjoy without necessarily enjoying the core game being played.
Right. Yep. So there you go. And you have that young Chinese team, Wings, $9 million richer. So congrats to them. And like you said, I really hope we plug and play the international format with CS:GO here at some point.
Let's see a Rocket League international.
A Rocket League? I mean, sure, Rocket League's fun to watch too, man. I mean,
hey, Rocket League just had their finals and they were really good. I think
they were.
I think there's a future in which Rocket League could have that kind of exposure.
Yep. Exactly.
Awesome.
All right, so we've got 3 more real quick hits, and then we'll jump into new releases. But Quantum Break, which is a game that I don't really know. It definitely ended up somewhat in the middle. It was a pretty hype title.
Reviews.
Speaking of mixed reviews, yeah, you'll remember Quantum Break was an exclusive to the Xbox One, right?
Well, it was exclusive to the Windows Store on Windows,
to the Windows
10.
That's right. That's right. That was the original. Oh, God. But it has been confirmed that it will be coming to other platforms, and it will support DirectX 11 and not only be on DirectX 12.
I would love to know how many copies of that game they sold in the Windows Store.
Yeah, I feel like I'd be able to count them on one hand, probably.
Does it? But I'm just gonna pose the question: does this feel like something that was planned before this game launched? Do you think they said, you know what? I think the plan will be in September. In September 2016, several months after the game launches, we are going to put it on Steam for sure. Right? Do you think that was the plan, or do you think that once it came out, they looked at it and were like, "Oh, I can count the number of copies I'm selling on two hands."
Yep.
How quickly can we put this on Steam?
Yes, 100%. It is the second one that you are saying right now. Yeah, there's no way that this game sold near well enough, and especially for the amount of time and money I know I'm sure they put into this. They really were like, this is really going to bolster that exclusive Windows 10 store. So there you go. So now they're like, well, fuck, let's sell some copies. So it'll be coming. It'll be $40. There is it's interesting. The retail version of Quantum Break Timeless Collector's Edition will cost $40, and it's got premium packaging. Okay, so this includes the game. Let's be clear. This isn't the Battlefield 1 Collector's Edition. 5 game discs, one-time Steam key redemption required. So I'm not sure what the
5 game. Wait, for Xbox One? What is this? The PS1?
I'm really confused. Making of Blu-ray, a making of book, 1 soundtrack CD, 2 posters, and a quick start guide. Yeah, I'm not sure what the 5 game discs.
How many discs it requires to.
Yeah, if you're not doing it, if you're not installing it digitally or whatever, I don't. Oof. Yeah, I'm trying to figure this out. That's crazy though.
That sounds awful.
Yeah, why would you?
I'm actually getting really flashbacks to the times when like installing a PC game on 2 or 3 discs.
Yeah, so many discs. Insert it's number 2.
Those are dark times.
Pretty crazy. But yeah, it definitely a situation where this game did not sell, so they're getting it out to as many people as they can.
I mean, I'm glad for the Quantum Break team, because it has to. I can only imagine it's got to be, a punch in the gut to probably see really, really low sales numbers on something that they probably worked really hard on. Like, not even to speak to the quality of the game itself or whether it's a good game. Just something that you spend that much time on and that much effort on, you want people to at least get a chance to experience it. And we talked about it. We talked about it back before it came out, that being exclusive to the Windows Store, like, that's not really good for anyone.
Nope, definitely not. And here we go. Some validation is definitely not good for the bottom line of Microsoft. So, as they,
this one, sorry, I've been pretty interested in Quantum Break. I might look at this. I might wait for it to go on sale, but it looked pretty interesting to me.
I mean, at least it is $40, so they're not trying to charge $60 for it, which is good.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. Yep. All right, so THQ, which you will all remember as a defunct publishing house, probably, like, they've been out of business for a bit. They're back from the dead. Kind of. So, this is such a bizarre story. But basically, okay, there's the people at Nordic. Okay, this company called Nordic. They announced that they'll be changing their name to THQ Nordic. And Nordic they're a game publisher that's based in Austria. They have their hands in retail deals and different ports: Ori and the Blind Forest, Broken Age, some other ones. And they purchased a bunch of game properties, which here are some big names, right? Darksiders, Red Faction, that THQ owned. They got it from auction when THQ was selling everything in 2013. And they didn't just buy those franchises; they bought the THQ trademark, and now they've decided to change their name to Nordic Games, from Nordic Games to THQ Nordic. So,
boy, they're just assuming that identity.
Yeah, they want to assume that identity, and this is the quote from the press release. As of now, we have 23 game projects in development, 13 thereof. 23, yes.
23.
I was going to say, now that I've read this is actually the more interesting part of the article.
Yes.
That Nordic Games has 23 projects in development?
Yeah. Ubisoft is working on like 5.
Yeah.
They want to get 5 out in like the next year.
Yeah. So
holy moly.
23 freaking games that are in development, and 13 thereof have not yet been publicly announced, but are sure to be in the next month. So a bit of a tease. And needless to say, the majority of these projects are based on former THQ owned IPs and franchises.
Yeah,
so they're building the hype. I think this is a move that they're calculating that, Red Faction is a really loved franchise, Darksiders. So, they're banking the fact of, here, let's throw that nostalgia in. Yes, THQ had a bad rap at the end. I was actually reading through the comments, and THQ's name eventually got run into the ground because they were contractually obligated to make a bunch of like licensed games and stuff when they had some mergers with other companies and contracts. And so, I mean, again, there were some good franchises, but there was also a lot of shovelware and garbage that THQ made. So I think it makes a lot of sense. Like reading these comments, the first comment is Darksiders 3, must have Darksiders 3. So they're going to be bringing back, I think a lot of these, the franchises that THQ had that people actually liked. So I guess in one sense it makes, I mean, like when you hear THQ Nordic, I mean, I don't know, like I didn't really have a huge, like a terrible.
I don't know that I ever really had I don't think I really had an affinity toward THQ before. But I guess if a lot of their future projects are going to be based on those THQ IPs, then I suppose it makes sense because they're already kind of banking the future of their studio on a lot of the stuff they bought in that auction, and so like why not? I guess name yourself THQ so that those people that did have an affinity towards it will be more likely to buy your games because those games are still going to be based on your Red Factions, your Darksiders, stuff like that. So maybe it'll feel more natural to people when those games come out and it'll have the THQ name on it. But I mean I don't know though. I don't really know what that name is worth because I don't know. Exactly. It's not either. It's definitely not like a household name, right? I think if you say THQ, I don't know that people necessarily have super fond memories of some THQ game.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe some people do, but not me.
I mean,
yeah, and so in that sense too, it probably is not going to hurt anything, right? Like by that argument, it's like I don't think people are gonna be like, oh god damn it, THQ. I bought that shovelware.
I didn't have an affinity toward Nordic games either, right?
Same,
so like
exactly. It doesn't really mean anything.
I think for the people that don't care, it's like they probably still won't care, but some people probably do, have some value or remembrance for the THQ name. So it's probably fine. I'm just surprised they have so many projects that it sounds like they're basically, pulling a bunch of those THQ IPs they bought and actually turning them into projects like that. I don't know. THQ went under for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So finally, our last quick hit, and then we'll jump into the releases. Brandon put this in because he was getting real heated about it before before we were even live. But so Bethesda has said that Elder Scrolls 6 won't be revealed until it's ready to be released. And this is basically a situation where, again, Pete Hines got so frustrated and annoyed with people asking constantly about Elder Scrolls 6 that he said, you're not going to be hearing first details on Elder Scrolls 6 years before the game comes out. Absolutely not. And the only reason that they did this confirmation again was they were so tired of getting asked, like, when is it coming? It's not the next thing we're doing, nor the thing we're even doing after that. This is quote as well, to really let people know how many years out it is. And Brandon, you were particularly upset because if we actually look at Bethesda's track record, like they've been doing fucking Elder Scrolls shit. Like,
yeah,
this is.
Yeah, I was just getting as
like,
I read through this. Yeah, as I read through this, I was just getting a little bit annoyed because I feel like it's always when you're a game publisher. You probably always feel like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, because there are people, presumably people, clamoring for answers like, when are we getting Elder Scrolls 6? And I was thinking, it's not like they've been resting on their laurels with the Elder Scrolls IP. They put out Elder Scrolls Online. They have Elder Scrolls Legends, the card game that is now in beta, like they're actively working on it. So they're making games using this IP. But they're not making a sequel, a sequel to the actual original Elder Scrolls game. And it's like, on one hand, we want people to create new games but then we're constantly asking, when is the sequel for this game coming out? And then we turn around and like people wonder why we're constantly getting sequels instead of new IP. And it's like, this is why, because everyone keeps asking where Elder Scrolls is. And it's like, look at what they're doing. They're utilizing Elder Scrolls. They're if anything, they're building that universe out more widely.
Yeah.
So just like shut up and enjoy
Let it happen.
the fact that you have all these different Elder Scrolls games to play. And yeah, just like let them do some other stuff.
No, dude, I need a date. I need a hard date, dude. 3 years from now, 4 years from now, when will I see it?
Yeah, and they're doing the
Are you even
Skyrim.
working on it? Like, I like to think this question is literally like, people are like, are you even working on an Elder Scrolls 6? Like they wouldn't be. Like, they're like, yeah, no, we're just dropping it. You know what? We didn't sell like a fucking bajillion copies of the last Elder Scrolls, you know?
Can you guys make some more Skyrim DLC?
Yeah, like, I don't.
God.
Whatever.
It's like I feel like you can never win because they
can't please everyone.
He confirmed that there would be an Elder Scrolls 6.
He did confirm.
Just like so that people knew. But then now people are constantly asking, when is it? And it's like you kind of got to go back and say, no, we're just saying that like at some point it will exist. Along the timeline of Bethesda as a company, Elder Scrolls 6 will exist.
Sure.
But it's not anytime soon. And frankly, like, it shouldn't be. They're doing a bunch of other stuff.
Well, I think they're being selfish. I think if they really love the fans, we'll get a trailer or some gameplay. Fucking game devs these days, just
what the hell, dude? Slacking, just really slacking. So there you go. All right. Well, that was our new section. A lot of stuff to talk about. Some good discussion there. But KD, it is now time for the new releases. Take us away, please.
All right.
Allow me to have release in the new releases.
Welcome to the new releases.
Thank you.
Today. First up, I'm actually going to skip ahead here for what I have on the dock. The only AAA game, basically AAA full price game coming out that's really worth noting. I'm sure some of our listeners are into this. F1 2016 comes out on the 18th. So if you like driving F1 cars, that'll be the game for you.
Yeah.
$60. So enjoy that. But other than that, let's go through some indie games that look like they have a lot of promise. This one is Markup Man. So it describes itself as it's the ultimate fun way to practice web development and learn the basics of HTML and CSS with no real coding skills. So basically, it's a local co-op game. Well, it could be single player, where you and another person are jumping around a line of code, basically, and you're like picking up different blocks that are different, like variables or like brackets. I'm not sure what the proper term is, but and so you have like the puzzle on the right, and so like say for example, you need to make this text a link, and so you're arranging the different pieces so that the HTML, I guess, on the right shows up as a link, or like the color changes. Like I took a very, very brief web design course in high school, so I can kind of see what the premise of this would be. But I just think it's really cool to kind of get people into this without, going through watching, an hour-long tutorial of, hey guys, this is my part 30 of HTML tutorial. Today we're gonna. So no, it looks like a more accessible.
Yeah, it's a cool idea. Yeah,
it looks like it's like a casual learning game, and the fact that it's got co-op is actually pretty neat. I feel like I would have loved a game like this when I was in middle school or high school.
Yeah,
like if they would have had this in the classroom, I would definitely pay way more attention.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, that one comes out on August 16th. No word on a price, as indie games are. Next up, I'm going to throw this in for all my weebs out there. Conception 2, Children of the Seven Stars, comes out on the 15th. It's an anime dungeon crawler RPG, finally coming to PC. I haven't played it, but I'm sure someone out there cares about it. I might. It looks,
put that one on a note card.
Yeah, we'll put that on a flashcard immediately. After that, let me see. This game's called Typo Man Revisited. according to Steam, or according just by going by this developer. It's the only one I could find, but or revised. My bad. It looks like a kind of platformer where you type in a certain word or like type in words to help you solve puzzles, and it's kind of vague. I think I need to take a look at the trailer one more time, but I like the idea of, you have to type in the correct thing to, like, for example,
so like alter the environment or make something happen.
Yeah, exactly. I have to type in like platform to like get it to rise up, or if you want to turn something on, you need to find the O and connect it with the N. That looked okay. Something in the trailer where he walked up to something that said part, and then it flipped around and said trap and killed him. So that alone, I'm buying this. It looks pretty intensive.
I can't tell if it's like a typing game, but it sort of gave me a Typing of the Dead vibe.
Yeah, I could kind of see that.
I like games like this that have a word element where you kind of type and I don't know. It doesn't look educational necessarily, but
wonder what happens if you type in bukkake somewhere. What happened?
Oh man, well. I wondered why the game is rated.
I mean, you got to make sure to spell it right.
Yeah, exactly. If it's spelled wrong, like who knows?
But yeah, that comes out on the 15th. No word on a price. And finally, there's a game called The Lost, which is one of those games that just appeals to me. It is an ancient Chinese-style 3D action puzzle indie game.
Yeah.
It looks like some pretty interesting gameplay, some puzzle solving, some action. It says you need to concentrate your attentions on exploring. Okay, this is some English. Concentrate your attentions on exploring adventures. It is a hardcore, stylish game that worth to challenge.
That worth to challenge. Yes.
A devoted youth keeps seeking lost clues and hopes in the ghost realm, comma, end of sentence. That's it. Hey. And even on the when the release date, it's using Japanese like kanji for month and date. Yeah. That's precious. But yeah, that comes out on the 18th. It definitely looks it even says ancient Chinese style. Chinese style. That's good. But yeah, it looks pretty interesting. Hopefully, any game. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully all of the games on this list are good. Hopefully this is the next big PewDiePie hit that we get to told you about.
Kind of looks like that game. It looks like that game's in black and white, or like it's got an interesting aesthetic where part of the screen is covered.
Yeah, the kind of I can see that kind of effect, and like very scarce like color, like flower petals might be the only pink on the screen.
Yeah, interesting.
But yeah, very ancient Chinese style. I'll have to.
That's a feature. It's a feature.
Yes. That's gonna wrap up the new releases.
All right. Well, thank you, KD, for that. We're gonna jump into some viewer questions here. Our first one comes from Not So Ordinary Gamer, and he asked us if you could bring back something that is outdated or discontinued, what would it be? It's pretty open-ended though. So
not really a video game. Just,
yeah, I mean, it could be. I guess outdated or discontinued. Yeah, I mean, I'm leaving this up to interpretation. I mean, my mind immediately, of course, went to food and beverage because that's how my mind works.
I feel like those are the things discontinued. Those are the things that stick out the most.
Yeah, and it was also tough though because when I was thinking food, I was like, everything comes back. Like, Crystal Pepsi is back. The clear Pepsi.
Yeah.
They've got ecto coolers out, like Ghostbusters. That's basically all we consume now. Is like we were talking about it with games, right? With like sequels or like redos. Like that's the same thing with food, dude.
It's the sequel. It's the sequel
Surge
of
is
the
back.
Food and beverage world.
It is. Surge. It is. It's like, hey, remember when you had this one? You were like this, right? Let's just make it again. And I mean, it works. So like, there really aren't that many things that you can't. As far as food goes, I feel like. I mean, I know there are certain things. Like I was just thinking. When it came to like beverages or thinking, do you remember, did you guys ever try, for a short amount of time, Pepsi made something called Pepsi Blue. It was like a berry version of Pepsi. Do you guys remember that? Have you ever tried it?
No.
I don't think so.
Okay. It was kind of like I don't remember how long it ran, but I remember like really liking that for some reason. And I'm like a Coke over Pepsi guy most of the time. Like, well, every time I like Coke over Pepsi. Mm-hmm. But this was like not a cola, and I really remember liking it. And I don't think they make it any. Like I haven't seen it. Like I don't think they ever brought it back. But I thought Pepsi Blue was actually pretty tasty soda. So I don't know if I'm gonna go with that.
I used to like wild cherry Pepsi, but I mean that still exists.
That still exists. Yeah.
I think the obvious answer is to Harambe. His life was discontinued, so I'd love to
Oh
see
my god! I mean,
too soon.
Oh my god, KD.
But all I'm gonna say is fondue fries at Wendy's were a seasonal item. So if there's any way,
Are they already gone?
Yeah, they're. I don't.
oh,
think
they've
gone.
been gone. A few
man.
like months ago when the meme first started, I like stopped at Wendy's because I wanted to get like fondue fries and then eat them like live on the cast. But they told me it was seasonal and it was discontinued. It was apparently a winter item because that has something to do with winter. But let me think.
Wow.
Something outdated too. That could be like something that is just out of popularity, like just out of style.
I don't know.
I would bring back. I'd bring back the fedora before it was tainted. Back when it was still that elitist headgear.
Yeah, I'm saying like a lot of things. People are listing a lot of things in chat, and you know what's so funny is like someone was like, remember BK had the chicken fries? Guess what? BK brought back chicken fries. People, Timmy's like Surge. I'm like, Surge is back. Surge is you can buy
nothing is
Surge.
ever truly dead.
No, dude. It's like, I don't know.
Like I'm looking through. I was trying to see what else had been discontinued that I hadn't thought about in a while, and one of the things that came up. Squeeze-Its. Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember Squeeze-Its.
Like the plastic. You sort of.
Sure, are they gone? I feel like they have versions of them, but maybe not the original.
I don't know. But that's. I do remember those. I remember those, and I mean, I didn't. Last thing, I didn't even know this was discontinued.
Oh my!
But I also don't miss it. Like I could not care less about those, but I did drink a lot of those as a kid.
I remember drinking those.
I remember those. Yeah, that's a good one.
As like a small child, just thinking like this is really inconvenient. I'd rather just have a bottle.
Fucking Squeeze It. God, you're really bringing me back, and I gotta Google. God damn it, dude.
There were also another one from this list is they're called PB Crisps. They were peanut butter. They had like I don't even remember, but I remember like eating them and liking them. They were from Planters, so they had the peanut guy on the front, and they were peanut butter inside of like a peanut shell.
Oh yes, I think
those apparently got discontinued. I mean, I would love if those came back. That
sounds really good.
Being delicious.
My God, dude, the Squeeze It. So apparently discontinued until in 2001.
Oh,
so
man,
mid 1980s.
Wow,
till
15 years.
Yeah. Dude, I remember the Squeeze-Its being like, also they were super little too, weren't they? Like, weren't you like,
yeah,
I don't know, maybe, I guess we were little at the time, but I remember squeeze it, and be like, well, that was quick. I wish I wouldn't have squeezed it that hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had, I remember the blue raspberry I loved. Dude, the flavors, man.
Do they still make ring pops?
Yeah, I think they still make
I think
pops.
so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. I mean, I don't have a great answer for something that's gone that I really want to come back, because the first thing I thought of was Surge, but I was like, I don't want that to come back. Like it wasn't that good.
You know what? You know what's so funny that you say that, because I had this exact situation last week. I was in a convenience. I was in a Sheetz here in Pittsburgh, and I look up, and you know how they have like the dollar Coke cans and stuff like that, where you can get. They're $1. They're bigger. I think they're like 24 ounces or something, but the big tall cans. And I saw Surge, and I was like, my God, Brandon. I was like, because all the nostalgia came back, and I was like, I remember loving Surge, and I got it, and I drank it, and Brandon, I was like, what the fuck? It was okay, but it was like, it was nothing like I thought it would be. I was like, wow, Surge is really kind of a disappointing soda. It wasn't that great.
It needs to live in the past where it belongs.
It does.
There's I didn't have like Surge in its prime time, but there was like a really brief time that it like came to like where I work. Like we got like a shipment in once, and like everybody like was just going crazy about it.
Really? Like they loved the taste of it? Because I guess I mean, if it was the
I
first,
mean-
was it the first time having it, or were they with the
Oh
nostalgia?
no. It was all like nostalgia. Like the people who knew about Surge were like, "Oh man, Surge! I can't believe we have Surge again." And I remember having some, just thinking like, I didn't really think it tasted that good. It just tasted
It's like Mountain Dew
really-
came in a Sprite can.
yeah.
I thought you were gonna say it's like Mountain Dew came in Sprite, which is actually a decent description of what Surge tastes like. Yeah, it's definitely like a mix between like a
just
Sprite and a Mountain Dew.
a really powerful Mountain Dew.
And this
Really strong.
This question is actually just making me feel old because I'm now seeing things that I remember having and knowing they're now discontinued. And like when you say Squeeze-Its have been discontinued for 15 years,
2001.
that's like my life is flashing before my eyes.
You know, makes me feel goddamn.
This is basically just the section where we see how old people are if they know the references. Like, okay, so here's some other things I remember that have been discontinued. Melody Pops, where like it was like a whistle, but it was a candy.
Huh.
No, you don't even remember it, do you? What else?
I'm trying to think.
These Shark
No.
Bites fruit snacks.
Shark
I
Bite
remember
fruit
those.
snacks in my lunch. My mom used to pack those. God
Oh
damn
my
it! I love
God.
Shark Bites so much.
Another one.
I'm
You know
just
what? You know what I
like
kind of actually do miss is Doritos 3Ds. I think those were actually like pretty solid.
Which
No,
ones?
Scott's not on board with Doritos 3Ds.
No, sorry. I'm literally I'm literally recalling my childhood as you said Shark Bites. I can't think about anything else. Fuck me, dude. I'm so old. Yeah, I remember the Dorito 3D stuff. I don't know. I don't like they were good. I don't have
Yeah,
like
they
a
were
huge,
fine. They came in like
They tasted good.
it wasn't like a Pringles tube, but they weren't in a bag. They were in like a plastic container. I bet that was super expensive actually.
Yeah, to make those.
I just want to let everyone know you shouldn't Google shark bites.
Oh god.
Uh,
Oh god. Oh man.
AD, so young.
Yes.
You know, I saw the candy and I did remember them. I just maybe I was too young to really. I wasn't young enough to not eat them, but I just didn't really form an attachment with them, I guess.
I wonder when they discontinued those.
Austin would point out the only thing we would like to bring back is food products, pretty much, dude.
I'll bring back
what else
Crisis
gets
2.
discontinued though?
Yeah.
I'll
I
bring
can't
back.
think of other stuff that's been discontinued that hasn't been replaced with something better. Like I'm not gonna say like, oh, I really missed the Polaroid camera.
Right. Exactly. Someone, I think it was Seth or somebody said that arcades in their prime, and saying that his local arcade is a really sad affair now. That's true. I mean, arcades.
Yeah, but
don't
like
really
that's the
survive
thing
anymore,
is
but-
I don't that
it's-
wouldn't even be an answer for me because what you miss is
Yeah.
not the arcade itself, right? If they brought back all the machines and everything, it
Yeah,
wouldn't make a
that's
difference
true.
because what you miss is the culture around like
Around.
going to an arcade, that feeling you had. Like if you bring back the arcade machines and everything just like it was, it still wouldn't matter because like no one would be there. Everyone would be playing Pokemon Go on their phones. And they'd be like,
Yeah,
"Why
you're right.
are you chugging quarters into this thing?"
Yeah, that's a good point. You're right. It's you can't go back and get that culture back. Because the arcades exist.
Oh, Beyblades. That's man. Can always count in the chat. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I got triggered.
It's all right.
Is
See,
that
there's so many
something,
things
like
that
too new for me to even know. I don't even know what those are.
Oh, Beyblades were those like spinning tops, and they had like the anime that was on it too. Let it rip.
Yeah, I don't.
No. All right.
All right,
don't
so you know
remember.
what? I like that you have an example that I literally do not know what it is.
Yeah.
Oh man, there was like there's spinning tops, and then they had like the little plastic arenas that you put the magnets in, and they had like different like ones that had like the monsters inside of them, and they had like blades, and there goes the chat. Let it rip.
Let it rip.
Oh man, that
Wow.
was so hype.
All right,
You're
Scott,
like,
you and I
let that loose.
are now too old. We're not.
I
doing
know,
this
we are.
podcast anymore.
God, I would
No,
fuck some
we
kids up in
absolutely are.
Beyblades. God,
We
if they brought that
absolutely
shit
are.
back, I'd invest. You could buy like the metal blades for it. God.
I'm just over here
like,
salivating over Pepsi Blue on image search. It hurts.
Have any of you ever played with a yo-yo ball?
A yo-yo ball?
Like,
Yo-yo
it's
ball.
the dumbest thing. I have the song from the commercial like memorized. It was basically
Oh
think
yeah. Think so.
Hmm.
See, another thing that I would not bring back.
Crossfire.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so much stuff that like needs to stay in the past because it wasn't really that good. Like, I mean, I remember Stretch Armstrong. That was a toy when I was a kid, but I wouldn't bring it back because I also remember Stretch Armstrong's arm coming off and getting corn syrup all over my toy box. There's a reason that stuff gets discontinued.
Oh man.
All right.
I think
well,
I'll wait for mac and Cheetos to go away so I can use that as my answer.
Oh God, mac and Cheetos. The more I think about that, the more disappointing that experience was. Yeah, they're gone.
I don't think I didn't even get a chance to try them. Pretty upset about that.
Oh no.
Mac and Cheetos is now my answer for this question.
Okay. Wow.
Thank you,
Alrighty.
Not So, for making us all feel
Yes.
very old.
Very old. All right. So this is
My
from
pleasure.
Dave Holija. I think the J silent. So I'm gonna say Dave Holia. I don't know,
There's no
Dave. I'm
chance that's
sorry.
right.
Holy.
That's no chance. Holija, maybe. If the Olympics were, go ahead.
No,
Yeah,
go
try
on,
it.
go on.
No, go ahead. No, try it. What do you think?
Oh,
it is?
I was gonna say something like Dave Holja.
Dave Holja. Well, I know that's definitely not it
I mean,
because it's definitely Dave.
I mean,
and then
your,
his
your
last
name your name is David. You could go by Dave.
That's true.
Dave.
Like, just write down Dave. Like, tell them write down Dave on your Starbucks cup or something, and then when they call out Dave, walk up and say, "No, it's pronounced Dave."
Oh,
That
No,
could be you.
I'll ignore it and then I'll just be like, I'm still waiting on my drink, waiting for someone to call up Dave.
oh man. All right. So this is from. I'm just gonna say this is from fucking Dave. If the Olympics were competed by video game characters / video games, what character / game would come out on top? That's really broad, but
I mean, I feel
okay.
like so Sonic wins most things.
That's true.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't really consider Sonic, but
I mean, I'm thinking like so Sonic.
Yeah,
Sonic
video game
wins
character.
literally every running
it's
event.
a lot of events. Yeah.
I don't know. If,
Even the water events, because you can run on top of water.
Well, so my
Oh
thought
no,
was
Sonic
like,
hates water. No,
I
no,
thought
no.
Sonic is
No?
definitely he's slower in water because
he's
Sonic
slower,
can't
but
swim.
he's
but actually
Yeah.
if he's running on the ground in water, he's just as fast. So
that's yeah.
do they let you walk on the bottom of the pool? Like, is that allowed?
He would
I'm
still be
being tricky.
faster than any human, right?
Yeah, but it's the
Think.
question of like, would they even allow Sonic to compete
Is
by
that
running, by running on
Running
the
on
bottom,
the bottom of the pool.
Probably not.
I mean,
Probably
I
not.
will say one thing. Michael Phelps doesn't stand a chance against Gyarados.
Hmm.
For
I was
clearing
thinking Echo the Dolphin.
Oh
that.
wow.
Ooh,
But
that'd be
they
a good
probably here's the thing though, like if you're a dolphin, they probably can't compete in the specific types of swimming. Like they can't do a backstroke or a butterfly because they're just a dolphin. They just
one.
move.
Oh, yeah.
So do they just disqualify a dolphin? I don't even know.
I feel like Mario would be really good at like the gymnastics. Like the triple
Yeah.
jump, he nails that.
Okay.
Charlie in chat said John Marston for competitive shooting with Deadeye. That's a good one.
Oh
Red
yeah.
Dead
yeah.
Redemption. John Marston has that lock on.
Competitive shooting? We just have McCree.
That's true.
McCree.
Oh,
just
yeah.
wins.
McCree, that's true.
It's high noon.
Oh man.
Yeah. He doesn't need to compete in an event more than every few minutes, so he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Let's see.
For fencing, maybe Link. Be good,
Okay.
or
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of options to pull from. Yeah, you would just go by you'd have to go by event. Like, what's a more obscure event? Like, who would win? Who would win speed walking?
that's an event.
Because I don't think Sonic can speed walk. I don't think he, or maybe I
Well-
guess it's just his normal. I guess if you're not,
I don't
guess
really, admittedly, I don't know a whole lot about the mechanics by which Sonic runs. Like, is
Yeah.
it possible for Sonic to still be faster than everybody if he has to have one foot on the ground at each time.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Like,
That is the
can
speed
Sonic
walk.
conform to the speed walking rules in order to win? I don't know the answer.
Kirby for competitive eating. That's a good one, Seth.
But that competitive eating isn't an
that's-
Olympic sport, though. They don't have competitive eating in the Olympics.
No, it should be if it's not.
I'm not. Is speed walking an Olympic sport?
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Yeah, I believe
Oh, okay,
so.
okay.
I think the rule is like you have to keep one foot on the ground at all times. You can't have both feet in the air.
Huh.
Yep.
And so there's like this funny looking form to competitive speed walking.
I've got to look this up after the
Yeah,
cast.
that you're right. That is the rule. 1 foot on the ground at all times.
Let's see, a good answer from chat. Goro, Shiva, and Kentaro for rowing. It's like if you have more arms,
Oh, yeah.
that would make sense.
That is good. Okay.
What's was there a SSX? Was there like a certain character in that? Because I'm thinking of Winter Olympics too.
Yeah.
Someone from that game
yeah,
would
that's
probably do
true.
very well.
That's true.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about like we would come full circle. Like boxing, you could just say Mike Tyson.
That's
He's
true
in
because
Punch Out.
he's in Punch Out. He has his own
Yeah.
game.
He is a real person who is also a video game character. By the same token, we could say just like Shaq for everything.
Yeah. All right.
I don't know. That's a pretty good question.
That's a good question by Dave Holiha on Twitter. Thank you, Dave, for your question. Interesting discussion there. All right. So our final question is from James Kurt, and he asks us, would you prefer to live in London or a nice small town if you moved to the UK?
I added this question because I took it to be just the more general question of like if you were gonna move, would you move into the city or would you move to a small town?
Yeah. I mean, I guess I can't cheat and say because I generally tend to live in between. I'm a suburbs kind of person usually. That's what the suburbs are for. It's like not super small town. You have access to the city. To me, this kind of limits you. You say, all right, are you living downtown or are you living in the boonies? Almost, it sounds like. But I guess small town doesn't mean distant. That has to be super far away.
I think for this example though, like some small towns in the UK are still, there's still a train stop there, and so you're still just a train ride into the city.
Yeah. Oh, man.
It's really hard to say because I think assuming you were able to get to a city and you had, let's assume you have good internet, right? You still have all the amenities you could find in a big city. I don't know. A small town could be appealing.
Yeah, I'm definitely. This changes as I've aged. Like there was a time, especially when I was living in LA, I'd be like, always near the city. When I was younger, now as I get older, I'm like, exactly. And now I'm like, oh, absolutely. Like to me, this is no question. Definitely small town. Even if I was sacrificing, like if I had to drive farther right to get to stuff or get on a train stop to go somewhere. So yeah, for me, I definitely think small town. But that would have to depend too, like within reason. Like I wouldn't want to be out. I don't think I would ever want to live somewhere where I had to drive. I mean, I'll see as I get older, but like going to Walmart is a 30 mile affair. Like
right.
That's kind of where I mentally draw the line. Like I can't be like we're going into town once a month. Like that's too much for me. I like it in between.
I think while it does not fit within the bounds of this question because he's forcing us to pick one.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of there with you where I think growing up mostly in suburbs and having basically you're outside of all the commotion, right. But you still have all the amenities right around you. You've got grocery stores and electronic stores and everything like within reasonable distance.
Yeah.
Whereas a small town, small town can sometimes mean really small, and you go to the store, you make the trek into town once a week, to go to the Walmart or the grocery store that's 30 minutes away. I definitely would not. I would not live there. But I think a nice quaint town in the UK would be okay. I have some cousins that
I
live
agree.
there. I like some of the small town feel. You have some shops. I feel like in big cities you don't really have shops. You have you have Walmart and Target and your big stores. You don't really have a shop that someone owns and someone like wakes up every day and just goes and they own the building and all that. I feel like the places in Europe still have a lot more of that. Mom and pop stores kind of thing.
Yeah. I'm down. I'm down for small town. So 2 votes for small town. Katie, what are you thinking?
I think I'd be more comfortable in a small town.
Okay. All right. When are we going to get City Slicker Katie Zen, though? When is he going to spread his wings and move to Los Angeles, man? When is that happen?
Probably never.
Okay.
I don't know if I could adjust. It'd be interesting, but I don't know. I haven't really given it much thought.
Okay. Fair enough. So 3 votes for the nice small town in the UK somewhere. I like it.
Though I don't know. Actually, if I had to choose, like if you were forcing me to move right now, I would probably move to London.
Okay.
But in theory, the small town sounds nice.
Gotcha. All right. Well, that'll do it for the questions. And again, this is where we would go into a iTunes podcast review of the week if there was one. But Brandon, 2 weeks in a row.
Don't have one this week. So that could mean one of a few things. I mean, it's possible that literally everyone that has an iTunes account who listens to this podcast has rated it, which seems unlikely. But I mean, I'll entertain the possibility. So at this point, I think you have a real opportunity. There's been 2 weeks where no one's reviewed and left a like a text review. So I think this is your chance to get in if you've been waiting, right? Because like you've waited until there's been a nice lull, and I mean lull with two L's, not a nice lull, a nice lull, and so you should get in your podcast reviews for next week. And if they're good, we will feature them here in this section on the cast. All you have to do is rate us the right number of stars, the number of stars that we deserve. Which is how many?
That would be 5, Brandon.
5 stars. 5 stars.
You could have asked anyone.
But yes.
What we deserve. And so you rate us 5 stars. Leave us your name and number. Don't leave us your number. Leave us a nice bit of text, whatever bit of text you want, and we might feature it on the cast. So next week. Yes,
definitely do that. Next week. I mean, people had opportunities. Again, even if the review maybe even had been. Again, we don't usually compromise on quality, but if there's a review that's a little bit on the edge and skirting it, and maybe just okay in a week where there's no other reviews, you have a good shot. So you blew it again, but next week, I mean, get it. I feel like now that we've made this challenge, we're going to be met with an abundance. You know what I mean? Like now people are going to be like, okay.
Now people are gonna see just how low we'll stoop to feature one, regardless of content. So. Yeah. I mean, look, it's your one shot to shine, and and you want to leave a mark. So,
absolutely. So, just take that challenge and use it for fuel for your review of this amazing podcast next week. All right, guys, I think that's going to do it for episode 246 of the KBMOD podcast. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging with us. We will be back next week with obviously episode 247. And as far as all KBMOD related links, go to kbmod.com. There's a bunch of content that has gone up over these past couple weeks. I know there's more content on the way as well. Brad's been doing a great job.
Hutch literally did not come on the podcast because there has been so much content
stuff they're working on. Yes.
He's been working on so much stuff with the other guys. So definitely check out the site because there's a lot of content on there that people are putting a lot of work into.
Exactly. So kbmod.com for that. Obviously, you can follow KBMOD Gaming on Twitter. So look up KBMOD Gaming on there. I am at APL Fisher. Katie Zen is at Katie Zen 18. And Brandon is at Volition, VOL1TION. You can follow us on there. And it was a fun one. I'm going to go get a glass of wine and play No Man's Sky for a couple hours. I'm just fucking kidding.
Really settle in there.
I'm really gonna settle in. No, I'm just kidding. That's not happening. But
light a candle and evolve it like Gyarados.
Yeah, oh, exactly. Can you film? Because please, please. I want to. You don't have to share your process for how when you evolve Pokemon, what it looks like, but I kind of want to see it for myself if you wouldn't mind.
So I'm gonna stay tuned to your Twitter.
Yeah, I'll drop that one in your personal stash, Scott.
Okay, thank you. Perfect. Sounds good. All right, we'll see you guys next week. Farewell.
Yatta!